Good morning or good afternoon. Actually, it depends where you are in the world, right? I tell you what, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, Freitag. In fact, it is Karfreitag. Anyway, it's a holy day. It's a special day. Special day around the world. Again, I do say that there's no religion, no politics here. However, you can't get around the fact that this calendar day is a special day. And as a result, there's no Bundesliga because in cities like Berlin, they respect the holy days. So yeah, in fact, no pubs, no nightclubs, no transport. You can go to a zoo though. so you go and look at some apes and capybaras. Yeah, everyone loves a capybara, right? Yeah, you can go to the zoo, but and possibly a museum. But you can't do anything else until Saturday morning, because again, we're respecting the holy day. So I thought, in the absence of any live Bundesliga football action, we'd experiment once again, and we'd do our hype show. Get on there, woo woo woo, whoop whoop. Get on the hype train and do the match day 30 preview. Do it this way. Do it as a live stream. Cut it down later on. Stick a bow on it. Get it out there as a VOD. But right here, right now, there's a live chat where if there's anybody out there, your comments are welcome. Please. Well, that's later on, isn't it, I suppose? Not like that. It's not one of those. It's not one of those live streams. I mean, as in, you can put it there or you can put it here, right? You can live comment. And I've tried to work on that, so be prepared for some fancier graphics. As you can probably see, there's some fancy graphics going on. In my head, there is some structure to this. So, Bundesliga. It is a big weekend coming up. There's only 5 games to go, which means 5 games for teams to accrue as many points as possible. All the different thirds in the table. At the bottom, in the middle, which is really pushing for European qualification, and then that title race, which is a 2-horse race, right? A 2-nag race, two thoroughbreds going at it head for head. There's currently a 6-point gap between Leverkusen in second and Munich out ahead, and we can examine that right here, right now, by looking at the table. There you go. Look, see. The current table, with 5 games to go, there's a 6-point gap between Leverkusen and Munich, which means the fixtures on match day 30 carry a significance, as they do for teams at the bottom of the table. Look, and it feels like, and hopefully you all agree. If you don't, again, you don't need to, because this is a safe space where real men cry too. So you can disagree. Again, put it in the live chat. If you're seeing this later in the VOD, this is not me having a fit, or trying to dance. This is me trying to point to the right part of the screen. It feels like there's only 4 teams really involved in a relegation scrap, but ultimately it's 3. It's Holstein, Kiel, Bochum, Heidenheim. And with 5 games to go, something monumental would need to happen for St. Pauli to be dragged into it. So, let's draw an imaginary dotted line under Hoffenheim. Tom Bischoff, the golden boy, he will be missed when he transfers to Munich in the summer. Let's draw a line under Hoffenheim as it stands and say, right, it's the bottom 4 in a scrap. And then if we progress up the table, we could be generous and say it's anyone from Augsburg upwards that are in the European places. But really, well, I suppose it is, right? Because there's only 2 points between. Actually, no, there's 5. There's 3 points between There's 3 points between Augsburg and Freiburg, who are currently in 6th, and then they're involved in their own mini Dallas drama. Remember Dallas? I'm showing my age now, but what would be more recent? ER? I And there will be a lot of blood spilled this weekend and in the run into the title with 5 games to go. Okay, right, well, come on this journey with me and let's agree then. Or maybe we don't, but let's just put it out there that anyone from Augsburg upwards is involved in the potential European scrap for next season. I mean, Leipzig's recent uplift, their new manager, bounce with the Hungarian Zot Lur, that's seen them win 2 games on the spin. So that's pushed them up into a Champions League place when they were hovering around 6th. Mainz are out of form, they're dropping. Freiburg are still retaining that place, although they were in a Champions League spot. It's probably a good reality check for them. I think we've mentioned before that Gladbach, like an electric car, is silently scaling the table, although they lost last time out to Freiburg. So again, it's that stage of the season where we call it a six-pointer. There are a lot of teams taking points off other people. And all this backs up my argument that this is an incredibly healthy league. You know, the standard is incredibly high for the Bundesliga compared to other leagues. You know, we should just celebrate the fact that there's football on the go and we all love it and we're all passionate. And there's a title race. It's not like the Premier League where Liverpool are, from what I understand, depending upon how Arsenal get on, and we've got Mesut Ozil here and Gonzo who are closet gooners, you know, depending on their results, although they're more likely to focus now on the Champions League, right? They've made that semi-final, which, let's be honest, I don't even think they saw that come in, especially grabbing a result in the air fryer that is the Bernabeu. That was a hell of a result. I mean, to win that tie 5-1 on aggregate, yeah, if they don't even make the final, just do a bus tour around North London celebrating that they beat Real Madrid. Okay, it's not a Real Madrid of a bygone era, but it is though, right? It is stacked with Galacticos, the modern day Galacticos that a lot of you younger fans probably look forward to opening when you're playing Ultimate Team and you're ripping open packs and you're like, oh my god, I've got Mbappe, I've got Endrick, I've got Vinicius Junior. It's exciting. I wonder if you're getting excited about Courtois, but as a former goalkeeper, I get excited about that. My point is, you could argue it's not. It's not a team of a bygone era for Real Madrid, but people are making the same argument about Bayern Munich. If you go to the Bayern View, please check out Liam Strasbourg, Steve, Zia Talks. Oh, I forget the other guy's a Juventus fan. He's quite cool. He's got a mouth on him. In a positive way. There's a lot of blue language coming out of it, but it's fun, right? It's acceptable to swear if you're in a safe place and you're passionate. Yeah, of course it's acceptable. Proves you've got a wide vocabulary, right? And you're expressive. Not what my teachers taught me in school, but anyway. There's an argument that a lot of these Bayern players aren't fit enough to wear this. Well, actually, that works on many levels, right? They are literally physically not fit enough to wear the shirt, but not fit enough to wear a shirt, compared to their ancestors. Yeah. All right. How many of this current Bayern team would get in that Champions League winning team of 2020, like the COVID era? How many of the current Bayern crop would get in the same team that won their last salad bowl, the Meisterschale, right? That's the point that we need to look at. Although when you factor it all in, it just makes it an incredibly exciting league because it's not predictable at the minute, right? And even though we make predictions, quite wild predictions, sometimes they're spoilt because you just don't see that result coming. Union Berlin managing to nick a draw at home to Leverkusen. I think anyone who saw that coming. Xabi Alonso certainly didn't when he was giving his team talk. Certainly not at half time, and certainly not towards the end when he threw on Florian Wirtz, who, he's back to fitness, not quite full fitness, and he's not going to peak, is he? Inside 20 odd minutes on the pitch, he's going to need a couple of games to get back into it. But even he didn't manage to overturn the street fighters that are Union Berlin. So it's a very unpredictable league, which is a great segue into what's coming up this weekend. So let's make a starting point then. 10 minutes in. This is match day 30. Like I say, there's no games on Friday because we're respecting the holy day. So we kick off on Saturday. Actually, the real action is the game I want to focus on, and that's Frank Schmidt's Heidenheim at the John Voith Arena. Nearly worked, didn't it? It's not quite Voith, it's Voith. At the John Voith Arena at home to Bayern Munich. On paper, there's so much quality in that Munich team, as I'm sure that everyone from the Bayern view, Danny from Always Bayern and Chelsea, and anyone else out there that we need to still find and still discover and support and get behind and quote on a regular basis. All of you Munich fans will agree that on paper, despite the fact that you're suffering with injuries, there's so much quality in this Munich team when you go head to head with Heidenheim. So where does that put us in terms of a prediction? I was looking at this, right, because again, this was supposed to be the prediction show. So you can't see this, but I can. You can if you want. I mean, you don't need to. If you look at the form table currently, so Munich have won 2 and drawn 1, scored 8, 5 goals against, 7 points. Heidenheim, their last 3. I usually do last 5, but I suppose we could just go last 3 because it's less maths, less number wang, and it might make it easier for you lot to understand. Not that I'm patronising you. I mean, actually, it's easier for me to do the math in my head. Heidenheim, in the last 3 games, won 1, lost 2, scored 1, 4 against. They're at home. What's their overall form like at home? Well, we can go on this journey together, can't we? I don't know why I keep cutting you out. Let's do it together then. Table. There you go. Right. Oh, it won't show you form though, will it? I need to go somewhere else for that. Oh, we've got a bell now, by the way. I should add. Yeah, we've got a cliche bell. Every time you hear a cliche, point it out, or if I recognise it in myself, we will bang that cliche bell. What am I doing? Heidenheim, Frank Schmidt. Here we go. Right. Not too interested in the stats just yet. This isn't really what I want to see, is it? No, this isn't what I want. So I might have to do all this in the background. Anyway, I suppose no, we can do it together. Again, sorry everybody. This is you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say thanks for being patient. This is a work in progress as we fix this one. We can do it this way. Look, there's Heidenheim's. I'll crop it at 3, just so it's easier for us all, right? Their last 3 games: a 1-0 away win at Wolfsburg, who have now lost 4 in a row. They lost to a Leverkusen goal. That was ex-Aston Villa Emmanuel Buendia scoring in the 91st minute. And then they went to Frankfurt and got stuffed 3-0, which, I'm not surprised because, again, like Munich, there's a lot of quality in that Frankfurt side. Okay, they lost at home last night to Tottenham, to the Spurs in the Europa League. Only 1-0 though, right? Only lost 2 on an aggregate. And it's about time that Big Ange... Yeah, mate. Was that more Batman than Australian? Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's about time that Spurs actually pulled out some results. There's Heidenheim here, like I say. Last 3 results. There's a win and 2 losses. If we contrast that with Munich... There you go, look. And straight away, what does that highlight? That highlights that there's an issue at the minute for Vincent Kompany and his defence in keeping clean sheets. You can add on to that, I suppose. 4 goals conceded against Inter. Oh, I almost feel like I've sullied myself mentioning that game, because that will then trigger a memory of Thomas Muller, and we'll never again see him in a Champions League fixture, which is sad. And some of those photos at full time with him, he just looked old, didn't he? He looked, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock shadow. He looked old, looked worn out, bless him. But I suppose it is indicative of the challenges that Munich have got, that Vincent Kompany's got. That they don't have enough fit players, and he doesn't have enough trust in the players that are fit to assemble an Avengers side that could have gone out and won that game. Yeah, well, I've been on a massive rant all week about this, that as a fan, even as a neutral, right, you don't necessarily have to be a Bayern Munich fan or a Heidenheim fan for that matter. We want to see football, right? I mean, what am I? I'm 44. I've grown up with football, as I'm sure even some of my younger viewers have, right? And depending on where you are on your life's journey, you can argue there's not enough football or there's too much. When you end up in that position or that chapter in your life when you're growing a family, and they take the younger people and your other loved one, your partner, takes the priority, then football takes a back seat, right? So that pendulum swings from there's not enough football to there's too much football, or I've got other priorities, and it's swinging back round for me that I can't watch enough. There's not enough football, Yes, I respect the holiday that is Carrot Tag, that we have to celebrate for Easter on Good Friday. I respect that, but I'm desperate. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm desperate to talk about it. I want to see it. I'm going to end up playing Football Manager later on, picking up my Werder Bremen save. I might even play AFC, most likely as Munich, because I actually want to win a few games. I'm desperate. There's not enough football. But the flip side of that is the modern day footballer, the modern day athlete is playing a lot of games. Domestically, in Europe, with that revised formats in both Champions League and, as Frankfurt are feeling, that revised format in the Europa League, right? It's added extra games. Then there's more international tournaments, because Gianni Fanta? Remember Fanta? Yeah. Created by the Germans. Created by Coke to keep the German soldiers fueled up during the wars. Same with Hugo Boss, but those uniforms were absolutely chef's kiss, right? Those Nazi uniforms were pretty beautiful. All right, the atrocities that were committed in them, are some acts that people should hold their heads in shame for a long time, but fucking hell, they look good. Anyway, should we move on from that? Because there's no religion, no politics here, and here I am opening my own trapdoors. There's a lot of football being played, international, because the FIFA president, UEFA president want to squeeze out some more green. And again, why not? Because the demand is there. I'm proof of it. You're proof of it. There's people out there that haven't found us yet that are proof of it. There are people that buy season tickets, that buy into club memberships, that go to the pub, that watch the games, that buy the kits, that go on the park, that try to recreate those goals. Yes, there is a high demand for it. It's got to be a balance though, right? Because otherwise you end up in a position like Vincent Kompany is, where he's got a squad of 23, 24, and he's juggling to put a side out on a Saturday or on a Sunday or midweek because of the injuries. So where do you get that balance? Where do you toggle that balance between too much football, not enough football, and then the impact it has on a player's fitness, especially with some of these being internationals? I've called this out before, Fonzie's Canadian, Min Jae Kim, South Korean. Who else have you got in there? All right, a lot of domestic German players. I'd have to remind myself this one. I shouldn't. I should know the nationalities of the players, but I'm trying to do so much today. Who's travelling the furthest here? It's most likely Min Jae Kim, right? Yeah, Min Jae Kim, Fonzie. Is he technically Australian? But he's not really getting a game, is he? So it doesn't really matter. But he's only 19. There's no back button, is there? I keep forgetting that. Yeah, maybe Stanisic. Serbia. Anyway, my point is, there's a lot of international players travelling long distances that need the recovery time, but there is no... Ito, of course, yeah. Hiroki Ito, who fittingly is injured, right? I sort of rest my case, but where's... Oh, Sashi Berry's French, isn't he, I suppose, yeah. Maybe French Guinean. They're travelling long distances, they're coming back, there's no recovery time, and they're thrown straight in. Yes, they are high-performance athletes that are well compensated for what they do. However, there's only so much you can do. They're only humans, right? If you do a Dave Besant or a... What was the keeper for Ipswich that went to Arsenal? Richard. Oh, come on. You should know this. Not Igo. I've lost it already. Richard, Ipswich keeper. This is going to annoy me. Richard Wright, there you go. So Dave Besson dropped a jar of mayonnaise on his foot. Richard Wright dropped a bottle of aftershave on his foot. And he got injured. And you've even got Manny Neuer injured celebrating a goal, right? So it happens. These are humans, right? In the heat of the moment, people forget, people react. That red card by João Palhinha in the anniversary game, the party game at home to Bochum, that cost you points that day. They're humans. You'll react. It's all about temperament, you know. Look at Adeyemi at Dortmund. God, that guy could get wound up. He could trash an empty room. You know, some players need that. They live on the edge, right? They need to be wound up to get motivated, you know. But sometimes that can cause injuries when you're flying into tackles recklessly. Look at Kim for that second goal. You know, I was listening to Danny from Always Bayern Chelsea. His perspective was that Kim didn't jump, you know. And I would argue, well, he did jump, but he jumped to the best ability. His trajectory is not what it should have been because physically he's struggling. He's struggling with an injury. Everyone was shitting on Harry Kane for a couple of games until he scored that goal. In fact, some of you are still shitting on Harry Kane, you know. He was carrying an ankle injury. Yeah, he's a high-paid performance athlete. Still a human, still doing what he can. He's still 70% against 3 centre-backs, you know, playing a Catenaccio style that do it week in, week out, that just love to defend, that love to block, that are like literal warriors, you know. All right, DiMarco did let himself down for a split second and Harry Kane scores. But my point is, you put in someone that's 70% against someone that's 100% fit and he's passionate about that job and he's not makeshift, he's not playing out of position. It's not. What do you expect, right? I still think, and then I'll put a pin in it, the fact that he scored 3 goals against an Inter Milan team that in 12 games have only conceded 5 times in the Champions League. And technically, you didn't lose that second leg, right? You lost one, you drew the second game, you went out on effectively goal difference, right? On aggregate goals. He scored 3 out of the 5 goals that Inter have conceded. In fact, if we actually look at what they've conceded all season, and we are so far from the Bundesliga now, it's untrue. But anyway. My regular viewers will be used to it. If you're just into the channel, thanks for joining us. Feel free to drop a comment. Let us know which team you follow. Let us know which team you don't like. Let us know your banter. Let us know your predictions. Doesn't just need to be Bundesliga. That's just the focus of this channel. For now, stay tuned. Might be some movement on that. What am I doing? Syria. That's what I'm checking. That's what I'm checking. Not in Ecuador. Didn't know this Ecuadorian top division was called the Serie A. That's fascinating. Okay, domestically, in 32 games, Inter have conceded 31 goals. Munich, in 29 games, have only conceded 29 goals. You've conceded a goal a game, and recently you've not been able to keep a clean sheet, and that's been a real problem. Anyway, we'll come back to this, right? So, do you know what? We probably should mix this up a bit because you can't see what I can see, can you? So let's do something about that temporarily. Oh, I just need to fix that because it's all black in it. Don't like that. What's that like? What's that done? That's done nothing. Oh, that's because it needs to be Fs. My mistake. Oh, that's not words at all, has it? Ah, how do I not make that colour? That's thrown me out. I want it to be white. I could have sworn I had this right the other day. Teething problems, everybody. Teething problems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's try that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should do it. No. What's wrong? What's going wrong here? I tell you what, I know we're only a few minutes in. Let's take a quick break because I need to figure this out. Even though we haven't really got anywhere, have we? We will do though. Right. Let's just take a quick break and I'll figure this out. Okay. Don't go away. I'll be right back. you lot to understand. Not right. If you're still around, I'm extremely grateful for you being patient with me there. Yeah, I was trying to make something work. But... Right, let's try again, shall we? Anyway, if you're just going into the channel now, thank you so much. Seriously grateful. That's Gonzo. My name's Craig. Presently we cover Bundesliga, and we're building up the hype train. We're on the hype train at the minute for match day 30. Again, no fixtures on Friday, with it being a holy day, with it being Karfreitag, or Good Friday, effectively. So what we're going to do is we started off by looking at Heidenheim Munich before I got fittingly got derailed. That train's now back on the track and building momentum. We can look at it together. There you go. Right. So all I was trying to look at, and the point I was trying to make, was about form. And again, I haven't figured out how you right click within a browser window in OBS. If anybody's in the chat, that's a very honest request. Again, I'm very authentic and autistic. My brain's all over the shop. I'm trying something new. I haven't quite figured this out. I don't know how you right click and effectively go back within a browser window, because otherwise I'm stuck and I have to keep going round and round, which adds in more time, which you probably don't see. You're probably not as frustrated as what I am, but it's frustrating for me. So we'll try again. Look, here's the state of the table. Like we say, Munich are currently 6 points clear of Leverkusen, but Munich are on the road to Heidenheim, who are in 16th. They're in a relegation scrap, so points are a must for both teams, which is why the business end of the season is so fascinating, right? There's 5 games to go, and again, according to our maths, depending on other results, actually, regardless of the results from Leverkusen, regardless of how they get on, Munich just need to focus on what's in front. Vincent Kompany, practice that team together, go out on Saturday and win that game. Win your next 3 games and the title's yours, right? Because even if you are neck and neck with 2 games to go, which you won't be neck and neck, right? There's a 6-point gap. With 2 games to go, if it's a 6-point gap, you're okay because you'll win the Bundesliga, you'll lift the salad bowl, the Meisterschale, you'll win it on goal difference. Your goal difference is far superior. The Leverkusen would have to keep winning all their games and start winning like 6-0 and hope that, you know, they don't concede many at the back, because that goal difference at the minute is a 25 goal difference between Leverkusen and Munich. So for Munich fans out there, all you can do is win the games that are in front of you. If you're a Heidenheim fan, well, likewise, you need to grind out as many points because you're running out of games to stay in the Bundesliga. That said, as we know, because it's a quirky division, like it is in Scotland, and again, similar to other divisions around Europe, around the world, which I've yet to look into, but I'd like to and I will do. Because, like I say, our focus currently is on the Bundesliga. Scotland, I know for sure, adopt this system where, you know, 1 team or 2 teams will automatically be relegated, which means that in the division below, 2 teams will automatically get promoted. But then there'll be a playoff game, which is effectively, what do they used to call it? The richest game in football before, well, discount the Champions League, which used to be called the European Cup. The richest game in football, the game with the most pressure, is that Championship final, as in the EFL Championship in the UK. What used to be the Division 2, which we call the Championship, right? That playoff final game literally makes or breaks the season, right? You know, and I live in Hull, and we've done it in the past. 2009, Dean Windass, 23rd minute goal. Was that against Bristol City, maybe? Oh, I should know that, right? Anyway, you win that game, you go up. France do it as well. Put on the shades. Welcome back, my friend. You couldn't have come at a better time. You bailed me out. Is that right? I didn't know they do it in the Netherlands. Again, you should have your own channel, mate, because you're savvy. You're extremely savvy. Yeah. I was just trying to put it out for any other new viewers that we come in that don't have your big brain, that aren't as big brained as you. Just like Vincent Kompany. Anyway, a lot of pressure on Heidenheim. And I can't figure out how to go back. I'm doing it my end, right? Meanwhile, just you focus on the table. And on my end, I'll give you the anecdotal evidence, right? So, in terms of form, Munich, as we know, we'll do last 3. 1-2, drawn 1, 7 points, obviously. Scored 8, conceded 5. Heidenheim, 1 win, 2 losses at their last 3. And he scored 1, conceded 4. As an away team, Munich have won 9, scored 35 times. Is that right? Yeah, the leading scorers away from home with 35 goals. Only conceded 13 on the road. As a home team, where's Heidenheim gone? Only 3 wins at home all season. Only scored 12 and conceded 25. So for me, us, the odds are. Oh, and I meant to do this. Sorry, the odds are. It's going to be a Munich 3-1 win. In fact, we already made that. Prediction. I knew it was Bristol. Yeah, in fact, right. This is. Let me see if this works. Right. Oh, go away. There I go. That's on the screen now. Let's just move it a little bit so it's got a bit more room. Oh, wrong screen. Just to confirm, Put the Shades On made the comment that yes, it's not just the Bundesliga, it's not just Scotland, but they do it in Holland as well. Well, they do a lot in Holland, right? It's a very liberal country, but they adopt the promotion and relegation playoff game Yeah, like he says, France do it, the Dutch do it as well, and I was right that, you know, we did beat Bristol City in a playoff final. Dean Windass, 23rd minute. Where was I going with this one? I was going with predictions, wasn't I? That's what I was trying to do. There you are. Look, see, we already made that prediction earlier in the week. Who was on? Zia Talks. Yeah, savvy guy. Part of the Bayern View crew. Yeah, he's a passionate. He's all about Mia San Mia. Yeah, we made our prediction. There'd be a 3-1 away win again, which would put pressure then on Leverkusen because they don't play until the Sunday, and they're away at St. Pauli, which is, that's a neat segue, isn't it? So let's have a look at that one now. Again, thank you everyone for being patient. This is a new format for us. As in, I would usually script this video within an inch of its life, try and contain my ebullient autistic personality, but we thought we'd try something different. So, we've cooled off Munich, 3-1 away win. Won't help Heidenheim. We'll put the pressure on them, and depending upon other results, that could land them in more trouble, because there's only a 2-point gap between themselves and Bochum, who indeed have only got a 2-point gap themselves with Holstein Kiel. So 4 points separate those bottom 3 teams. We feel it'll finish that way. St. Pauli will have to fuck up massively. Talking of which, let's cover St. Pauli. Right. See, we can become an anchor man. Fuck you, San Diego. Not really. That was an Anchorman reference, right? And that, I do have pants on under here, by the way. I'm not that brazen. We need brick, don't we? I suppose that's you, Gonzo, right? I suppose you are the plush toy equivalent of brick. To give us your thoughts. What am I doing here? Right. Excuse me. Edit that one out. There we go. Right. So. Oh, and I meant to do this as well, didn't I? And I totally ignored it. Right. Oh, it'll be all right in the night. Let's go back to this, right? So this is something I used to do when I used to script these videos. I used to present some pretty graphics to give you the probable lineups. Again, I haven't got a crystal ball. There's no magic 8 ball. Do you ever used to own one of them? I did, and a lot of us did back at uni, because under Labour government we had lots of money to throw around. Well, I suppose that as a nation, as a full nation, we had more money in our pockets back then. But again, no religion, no politics. I haven't got an 8 ball. I haven't got a crystal ball. We think these will be the lineups. Although Zia Talks did mention the other day that, I can never say this name, Budu Zivizavadze, the big Georgian striker, he'll be out injured, out, as will Matthias Honsak. So the last time these two sides met was a 4. Was it 4-2? Oh, fucking hell. I'm all over the shop here. Come on, son. I believe it was 4-2 last time these sides met. Musiala did score at the end. I remember that much. But obviously he won't be playing because he's out injured. And it'll obviously be a home game. Oh, 4-2 they are. I was right. Thank you, Zia. Right. So again, at one point in this game, it was in the previous encounter this season, the home leg at the Allianz. Oh, he's back in. Thank you, Zia, man. Yeah, you've timed it right, because we're just focusing on your Munich here. We're picking up the same point from the other day, but it felt appropriate now. Zia Talks, meat put on the shades. You two are extremely savvy about football. There's probably other people in the chat, but you two are. You're coming forward with a lot of comments, which is fantastic. Right, so the last time these two sides met, it was 4-2. Obviously, Musiala won't be playing. There'll be no Matthias Honsak. There'll be no Budu, big Zivizavadze, because he's out injured, right? So we can discount that. So let's have another look at those probable lineups. And again, this is probably where you come into your own, Zia, or Ahmed, well, however you want me to. I just call you Zia, it's easier, isn't it, really? There's the potential lineups for both teams. What's that then? They're going for a 3-5-2 again, Heidenheim, by the look of it. Muller, back three, Maneke, Gimba, Sibizlin, Traore, which is not Jimmy, Bush, Shepherd's Bush, Jan Schopner, Kranzig. Kranzig is on loan from... He's on loan from Munich, right? I'm pretty sure that's right. Oh, no, that's a 3-4-3, isn't it, technically, yeah. Nicholas Dorsch, who we commented was the male football equivalent of a suicide girl with all his tattoos, alongside Adrian Beck, and then the Pyringer, who isn't Swiss, is actually German. I got that wrong, I had to check that one up. That's the potential Heidenheim signing for Munich, which is why you're really here. Young Jonas Erbig, 11th game. He wasn't, for us anyway, he wasn't at fault for any of those goals against Inter. I think in time, when his muscle memory develops, as he starts to do different training techniques, he could have potentially saved that Benjamin Pavard header. But yeah, it's reactions, right? You know, the ball's coming in, it's quick, he has to move. Anyway, don't worry about that. You probably are wanting Maninoy to come back, but he's not the future, is he? Because he's had his chance, right? It's going to be Erbig. Erbig's the future of goalkeeping for Munich and potentially for Germany, although we quite like Finn Darman and Noah Atabulu, who's getting regular game time for Gemeinschaft for the under-21s. Erbig in goal. It's that makeshift back four again. Guerrero left back. Lima, which we think is an asset with his inverted play. It certainly was an asset the other night, even though the ultimate result didn't go Munich's way. Interesting that Kim's out. Potentially it's Stanisach, which Put on the Shades was arguing the other day that he felt that Josip Stanisic was playing really well, certainly in that Dortmund game. So that's interesting then, right? So Kim drops out. Stanisic partners Eric Dyer in the middle. You got your double pivot of Kimmich, but no LA Fitness Leon Goretzka. You know, according to the Bundesliga site, they think the probable lineup will be Kimmich and Alexander Pavlovich. Bless him, young man's not very well, is he? Long term. I hope all that sort of deep line illness clears up. Elise on the right. Christ, if only that guy had a right foot that was comparable to his left foot, then Kim Stinker and hooked. Yeah, I need to. What am I trying to do? Oh, there's so many screens, man. Where's it gone? Let's put that all on there. Look there. Not trying to rub it in your face, do you? You probably agree though, right? You probably agree. We'll come back to the lineups for a second. Oh my god, this is going to be a long stream, isn't it? 4-2-3-1. We've done the keepers. We've got the double pivot. We've got Kimmich and Pavlovich. Elise on the right. Like I say, if he had a right foot was comparable with his left, Munich wins that game. He's still a delight of a player who's over exceeding expectations. Palace would be kicking themselves that they didn't ask for more money. I'm sure there's some fine lines in that contract for add-ons and whatnot. But again, hey, I'm not an agent. I'd love to be, but I'm not, right? So Elise, right side. Disco Funk brother Serge Gnabry, who played a blinder for 24 minutes on the pitch the other day, and his influence on that game was, he deserves to start ahead of Sane. Again, not shitting on Sane, just not quite clicking at the minute. He did put on a performance in the Bavarian derby against Augsburg, and again, most people were shit on that game. Well, it's only Augsburg, isn't it? But look at where they are. I'm not looking at the table because I'll have to go all the way back to get here because of my inefficiency with OBS. And then Harry Kane up front, who did get his goal, did take it well. I did listen to... I love the fan cams that you guys do on the Bayern View. Who's the lad that sounds Irish that isn't Liam, by the way, that was doing a video from his car? The black hair, young lad, had been playing five-a-side football and he gave a reaction. Anyway, he and probably a lot of you felt that Kane should have scored late on. But if you watch that highlight back, when the ball just come bouncing back, not Jurgen Sommer, who was American, as I found out the other day. Sommer's coming out to like just put him off, distract him to do what he can. He's made himself look big, so there's not much that Kane could do apart from just try and hook his left foot around it. And again, the trajectory of the ball off the bounce was always going over the bar. It's all coulda, woulda, shouldas, right? But I suppose you're paying 100 million and you want your big players to thrive in big moments, and that was a big moment, right? A bit like Kingsley Coman, who has literally the last kick of the game. Should he have kept that shot down? Yes, yeah, but again, it's heat of the moment. Can never remember that who performed that song, but just remember that line. In the heat of the moment, you know, it shits or bust, isn't it? And that's just when you want your big players to step up. So I don't blame Kane for missing that chance. I suppose I'm more objectionable. Well, my ex-wife would definitely say that, but objective, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm not going to shit on him as much. But there's your lineup. There's your lineup, right? And we've already made the prediction, but because he has come in, yeah, there you go. No. Long as you're laughing with me, not at me, it's okay. Actually, you can do what you want. I don't mind. As you can tell, pretty easy going. We'll just stick the prediction back on screen. We did this with you the other day, Zia, right? Yeah, 3-1 away win, because you just need to bank the points. 3 more wins. 3 more wins and the title's Munich's. That's our point. And it would be. And actually, just because we're here and we can have some fun. Clubs, Munich, fixtures. So let's all assume that you win tomorrow. You beat Heidenheim. Mainz form's dropped off. Let's assume you win that one. Let's also assume that Leverkusen win their 2 games. The Leipzig game, that's the one that could chip you up, right? Because again, there's 5 games to go. So game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5. The Leipzig game. If you win this one, it doesn't matter then, does it? It doesn't matter what happens to Leverkusen, because there's a 6-point gap. You could absolutely disappear against Gladbach and Hoffenheim, right? You could lose that and draw that one. It wouldn't matter, because your goal difference is far superior. Now, it's always better to go out on a high, right? You want to win all your games, because that's professionalism, you know, and that's what I like to think. There's enough pride in all players to want to get the best result when they cross that white line. Not that one, but you know, the white line on the pitch. So it could come down to this Leipzig game, who themselves are in a tussle to try and get into the Champions League for the 7th consecutive season. So that game could decide it all. That game could absolutely decide it all. Sorry, what was this comment? So I missed that one completely there. Let's come back to that. Put on the shades. What's your comment here, brother? Just need to make some running repairs. That's a big comment now, brother. Why is it not completely showing up? Oh, send me on a crash course to master this, please. There we go. Adam Mayer. Right, I knew it would show up in the end. Let's move that across one. I should put that there. Unlock it. I could go back to the Open University. Could be a mature student. I'm sure they'll let me in. Sure they'll take my money. Universities are in trouble these days, aren't they? I found out the other day that it's not just Chinese. A lot of Italian students come to university in the UK. But even they're drying up because of the cost of it. Again, no religion, no politics. But come on, politics is in everything, right? It's interwoven into every comment, into every scenario that you make. You can't avoid politics. I do love that Ricky Gervais stand-up as well. In fact, I might watch that tonight, considering there's no Bundesliga on. What the fuck am I trying to do? Oh, it's locked, isn't it? That's why I couldn't move it. Yeah, sorry, it was locked. And had a... You can nearly see it. There we go. I don't like blocking Gonzo because he'll get his own back on me later. What's that look like? That looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah, there you go. Right. Don't drop out of the chat now because I've done all that for nothing. Right. Was very disappointed with Frankfurt last night. Spurs did their job well, but at the same time, Frankfurt's front line had him. Do you know? I didn't watch it in its entirety because I was modding because I do modding for other Football Manager players on Twitch on a Thursday. You can feel free to check out Northern Pilgrim 1. Jamie, he's sold out. He left West Ham and he's now in charge of Manchester United. But it is in the future. I think he's 15, must be 12 years in the future. Lenny Yoro was playing for Manchester City at the back alongside Guardiola. He must have been nearly 40. Florian Wirtz also was in his Man City save. See, always keeping it Bundesliga. Yeah, my next door neighbour's a Spurs fan, so he was screaming. I wonder where that noise was coming from. And of course, we've got Jack, who's part of the Taffman community. It's sort of, yeah, because you're always the first one to react, right, in the group. If it's not into it, which is Nico, it's usually you and you're savvy, aren't you, Mr. Shades? Right. Let's get back to Bundesliga. Nothing's moved, and I'm happy. So, if you're still there, Zia, yeah, I'm sure you'll agree. It's going to come down to this Leipzig game, depending upon other results. Let's just check that, because, you know, we could do what we want, can't we? There's no work. I mean, technically, this is my work. But anyway. Right, so actually, we're covering this game, so in a way, it was like I was genius. I can claim that I meant to do this. Right, so Leverkusen sent Pauli. Then they play Augsburg, and then it's this game, right? So let's assume that they win both of these. Comes down to this game against Freiburg. Freiburg themselves, they're in that scrap with Gladbach and Mainz to try and get into the Champions League. Everything could hinge on that game and Munich's own performance away to Leipzig. So that, yeah, what's that? 30, 31. Match day 32 could pull the curtain down on the title race. And then the last two games are you're playing for pride. What Leverkusen, I mean, even so, right? Leverkusen need to start putting some big numbers on the board, and they haven't done that, have they? They drew a blank last time against Union Berlin, and then he just managed to beat Frank Schmidt's side 1-0 with a 91st minute goal. So, although Florian Wirtz is back, yes, he did play 20 minutes-ish against Union Berlin, but he couldn't get past that back three of Leiter, Diogo and Querfeld, right? And Rami Kadiri, younger brother of Sami, used to be a Galactica at Real Madrid. So, yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, because I can't bring up any. Let's have a look at the form let's have a look at St. Pauli then, before I disappear completely. Again, if you are in the channel today and you're viewing, thank you so much. It means so much to Gonzo and I. We are building up there. We are on the hype train for match day 30 for the Bundesliga title race, of which St. Pauli could influence because they're at home at the Millantor. They don't concede many goals at home. Is it 15? Something like that. Let's just quickly validate that one. Right. At home, they've conceded 15 goals. Only Augsburg, Union Berlin, and Mainz have conceded less. Right. So they don't ship many goals at home. Mind you, they don't score that many, do they? Really? They've only scored 9 goals at home all season. Whereas Leverkusen, and we'll look at Leverkusen on the road. On the road, they've scored 31, which is 4 short of Munich, who are the leading away scorers. Interesting that Werder are a third in that list. Well, joint third with Mainz. They've scored 27 goals away from home. Actually, they're the form team. That was another interesting data point the other day that I looked up, that Werder have won. They've won 3 in a row, so they're a form team at the minute. And again, if the league was determined by second half results, then they would be second in the table, which is fascinating. But you've lost yourself there, Craig, getting you right. Bring it back round. Okay, so St. Pauli. Ooh, only 3 wins at home, and he conceded 15 goals, but only scored 9. And then Leverkusen on the road, 9 wins, scored 31, only conceded 16. The form over the last 3 games, overall, like I say, Werder, they're the form team at the minute with 3 wins out of 3. Leverkusen with 2 wins and a draw. St. Pauli, 1 of each, please. Top, middle, bottom. Remember that? Strike it lucky. Monday Night Fun with Michael Barrymore. We'll leave that one there. Right. It's prediction time, innit? That's what you're here for. So, we've already done this. We've already made this prediction. And there it is. We're going 1-0 Leverkusen away win. Tight margins because, again, without Florian Wirtz, they haven't scored many, have they, really? And, again, the last 3 games, they've only scored 4 goals, Leverkusen. It's been a real struggle. He's coming back. He's not 100% fit just yet. He's not quite in that groove. They need him to be, though, and I'm assuming that Xabi Alonso's rushed him back. Because, again, 5 games to go, 6-point delta to Munich. They need the goals. Although, again, they've gone 1-0 on the basis that St. Pauli are pretty miserly. Again, 15 goals conceded at home. Leverkusen can win away, and actually they need to. And the football gods up there, if they're going to sprinkle another smattering of fairy dust that is fate on the run-in, then they'll make it 1-0, right? Because we're assuming that Munich are going to win that game regardless of whether it's 1-0, 3-1, 6-1. Sorry, Frank Schmidt. Sorry, Heidenheim fans at the John Voith Arena. Doesn't matter, right? It's going to be another weekend where the top 2 compete and just go head-to-head, right? They match each other, sorry. What does Manu say from the Gegenpressing podcast? They'll be in lockstep, right? Don't judge me in that accent, but yeah. The top 2 will be in lockstep, which means there'll be 4 games to go. I think it comes down to, still firmly believe, not for St. Pauli, for Leverkusen, it comes down to, it's going to come down to this Freiburg game, as it is Munich away at Leipzig. That's the key game. Anyway, so that's the top 2 done. Again, assume that's you laughing with me, not at me. Z, you're quiet, brother. Maybe you've come in and got what you needed, which was our thoughts on Munich, which is more than fine. Yeah, enjoyed your fan cam the other night. Your reaction was pretty balanced, actually. It's pretty reserved. I enjoyed that one. Where are we going now, then? What's the next game that's grabbing your attention? I suppose it's this one, right? I suppose it's DORTMUND-Gladbach. We should probably talk about that one. Yeah. Let's get ourselves some probable lineups on that game. Just realised We didn't do that. Oh, come on, son. Get a grip. We can do it quickly now, retrospectively. Where's it gone? Right, there you are. You can see that. Again, I'll find a more ergonomic solution for this going forward. There's your potential lineups. Vasil, what's he got? 8 clean sheets this season. Not surprising, really, for a team that has only conceded 15 goals at home. So, Vasil in goal. So, back. What we playing there? We're doing 3-4-3. Looks like it, doesn't it, really? Again, very common in Germany. Back three of Nemeth, Weil, and Van der Heyden. That midfield. Oh, just noticed he's missing. Where's I was going to say, where's Irvine? He's not in. Mr. Socceroos not in that team. That's just thrown me out. That 4 in the middle: Saliakis, Eric Schmidt, the Swede, Connor Metcalf. He's Australian, right? And Philip Treu, Daniel Sinani from Luxembourg, Dapo Afolainen, ex-Bolton Wanderers, and then Gulivogu, close enough, innit, up front. And then for Leverkusen, it's Hradecki in goal. Oh, they're going 3-5-2, okay. Tapsoka, Jonathan Tah, Hincape, who's your back three. Frimpong, Xhaka in the middle next to Alex Garcia, Grimaldo. Oh, it's 3-4-3, isn't it? Sorry. Well, potentially. Yeah, that makes sense. Armin Adley and Wirtz. Work it, baby. Florian Wirtz playing off Patrick Schick, the big, tall Czechia man up front who's scored 17 goals so far this season. So there's your Leverkusen lineup. Frimpong, yeah, big fan. Certainly on Football Manager, big fan. Very fast. Covers his distances, goes up and down his channel on the right hand side. Grimaldo covers the left. Like I say, yes, Gonzo, and I'm sure Mr. Shades has got some thoughts on Xhaka, but I might have to make that screen even bigger because he could be writing War and Peace. Good to see Adley in the side as well, actually, if he gets a game. I mean, Adley, the Moroccan, and Florian. Yeah, great to see him back. And again, like I said up front, right, we all want to see as much football as we can, wall to wall. We want to see the best players performing at their peak. And I suppose, on that note, it's not a surprise that Vincent Kompany swapped out Kim for Stanisic, or swapped out Kim, moved Stanisic across and playing Guerrero on as left back, because you all want your best players in peak physical condition in their right positions, because that's how you set yourself up for the best chance of a win. Okay then, right. What did we say we're going to cover now? Dortmund, wasn't it? Let's have a look at Dortmund. In there somewhere. Yeah. Dortmund-Gladbach. So, I will go with the back three again, okay? That's good. That gives them more security. Gregory Kobel in goal as captain. Emre Can's out injured still, which makes sense as to why Kobel's captain. Big Nicolas Soule. Big giant in the back three alongside Voldemar Anton and Rami Bansabiani. Ryerson, that's pleasing to see him back because, again, we felt he was man of the match in the Classico against Munich. Julian Ryerson on the right. Young Daniel Svensson, the Swede. Norway, Sweden on the left. Felix Nemeka. Okay, interesting. He's alongside Pascal Gross, the ex-Brighton midfielder, playing as the DM alongside Nemcheka. Brandt's still in the side. Okay, is that number 10, the playmaker behind Girassi, who bagged a hat-trick against Barcelona. Incredible result, but just wasn't enough the other night in the Champions League. And Maxi Bayer, and we know that Mr. Shades is a big fan of Maxi Bayer because he runs and runs. I can't remember who you made the comparison with. Was it Rashford, maybe? If it wasn't, don't laugh at that one. You made a comment the other day that he reminded you of another footballer just for his ability to keep running and getting some good positions. Feel free to let us know in the chat. There's your Dortmund team. And then Gladbach, it's Cardosa, also from Luxembourg. Joe Scally, the American, in a back four alongside Itakaru, Elvedi and Ulrich, who's a promising young talent for the future. They're going 4-2-3-1 look. It's Rocco Wright alongside Julian Weigl, and then Frank Honrahat on the right. Instagram-friendly Robin Hack on the left. Alessandro Play, the old timer, still rolling back the years. The Frenchman in that sort of attacking three, all playing off Tim Kleindist, who's got, is it 16 goals this season? Let's just have a quick look because I've completely forgot. It's 15 goals. Sorry. Yeah, him and Jurassi and Johnny Burkhardt are all on 15. I like how Omar Mamouche's greyed out. Good transfer business that though for Frankfurt. Yeah, good transfer business. The former dropped off, but Dino Topmuller is... Yeah, they're in a bit of a resurgence at the minute. Okay, they lost last night, so their European dreams are over for another season. But anyway, we'll come on to Frankfurt when it's time. Anyway, let's come back here. So there's your two lineups. We can look at the table. So Dortmund are in 8th currently. Gladbach are 2 points ahead. Them in 7th. So it means a lot. So it's a game again. It's the business end of the season with 5 games to go. Everyone's taking points off each other. Gladbach are only a point off Freiburg, but more importantly, they're 4 points off Leipzig because everyone wants to be finishing in the top 4, right? Or there's only 2 slots up for grabs because there's a humongous difference between Frankfurt in 3rd and Leverkusen in 2nd. What's that? A 12-point difference? That's okay. It just proves that they're in a little mini league of their own. There's the cliche bell, as we promised. Every time there's a cliche, if you don't spot it, I spot it, that bell gets pressed. They're in a league of their own. I've probably missed a few others. I'll have to watch it back and I'll dub the bell on at the end. So yeah, so whilst Dortmund are 2 off Gladbach, who themselves are only a point off Freiburg, I think Gladbach want more out of this season. The reality is I can see them finishing in 5th. So they're only 2 points behind Mainz, who have really dropped off. Yeah, I mean, Bo Henriksen performed like a Sunderland scale of miracle, keeping them up last year. You know, almost a Nigel Pearson sort of great escape with Leicester. It was at Sunderland. Was that Di Canio? I think it was Di Canio, wasn't it? Yeah. And there's probably other teams, and feel free to put it in the chat, or if you're watching this in the VOD, feel free to leave your comments down below of other great escape artists. There are others. I just I'm trying to keep my artistic brain as focused as possible. So this game has a lot of implications on European qualifications for next season. And even Dortmund have got Werder Bremen, who are the form team at the minute with 3 wins on the spin, breathing down their necks, as Augsburg are. So it feels like they can draw a dotted line under Augsburg in 10th. Sorry, Stuttgart, you know, you've still got a DFB Pokal final, right? Which, again, just laser focusing on that for a second. You'd be damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you lose that one, you know, it's a fairy tale for Arminia Bielefeld, who were in the final coming in from Liga 3. And if you win it, people will say it was Arminia Bielefeld of Liga 3, right? So you can't... damned if you do, damned if you don't. But you still got a cup final. You still got a day out to Berlin to look forward to. Or maybe stay overnight. Go and look at the Brandenburg Gate. Go up the radio tower. You know, enjoy some of the kitsch bars and coffee shops. You've still got a weekend in Berlin later in the season coming up. But yeah, it feels like we'll do a pass on Europe this season. Wow, interesting game, that one coming up. Let's make a quick prediction then. I say make it. This is all pre-canned. Whoa, look at that. we're gone big. Yeah, we're going big on this one, on the basis that it feels like Dortmund are hitting form too, and they also want to get into the Champions League, but they're slightly vulnerable at the back, as they've proven all season. I will validate that one. They've conceded 45 goals this season, Dortmund. So, interesting that Gladbach above them, 2 points ahead of them, have conceded 43. Gladbach have a +3 goal difference. Dortmund have a +9. So it's very competitive. So there's goals in it. It is a potential goal fest. Let's get that comment on the screen as quick as we can. Doesn't matter. You have to beat what's in front of you. It's a competitive trophy end of the day. Would love to say Bielefeld win it, though. Absolutely. And again, we did a video on that. There'll be a link in the description for this live stream when it goes up. Well, it's up already, isn't it? But in the VOD, yeah, we did a whole video on Bielefeld. It'll be the first team ever outside of the Bundesliga to win it if they do. It's only the fourth team from the lower leagues to ever make a final. Yeah, I mean they put up a great fight against Leverkusen. Could have arguably been a bigger scoreline than the 2-1. Knocked out Werder Bremen, knocked out Freiburg, knocked out Union Berlin. So 4 scalps on the way to the final. They're playing with fear. I haven't checked on them. Another rabbit hole, but go on. Let's have a quick look at that one. So where are they currently? Oh, they're in second, right? So in Liga 3, Bielefeld are second, single point off Dynamo Dresden Dolls. 33 games played, 17 wins, 8 losses, 8 draws. Scored 53 times, conceded 34. So if I remember, going into that semi-final with Leverkusen, they were down in 4th. So yeah, they must have picked up a couple of wins then since that point, which is great. Yeah, of course you would. Like, everyone wants to see that fairy tale. Yeah, it's a bit like when was it Wigan beat Chelsea, or was it Manchester City? Wasn't it? 2013, I want to say. Yeah, Wigan winning the FA Cup was a big shock. I know Leicester have won it since. Was that 21? But yeah, I mean, Leicester were a Premier League team at the time. Maybe they were Championship. Either way, that Wigan cup final win was interesting, right? Wasn't it 2004 with Portsmouth? I recall Manchester United won that one 3-0. And again, I think Portsmouth might have been a Premier League side. Maybe they were Championship back then, or whatever it was called. Second division, whatever. Yeah, and again, as a whole, where's it got? It's behind me there, isn't it? We had our day out in the sun against Arsenal, as you know very well, Mr. Shades. Yeah, 2014, May 17th. 9 minutes in, 2-0 up, absolute delirium, cloud 9, and then there was that wicked free kick from Santi Cazorla. Wicked free kick that out in the top corner. I don't know who got the equaliser. I just know that Ramsey scored the winner because there was absolute delirium going off around me. Yeah, it was a tough day. Living in Hull, but being a closet Arsenal fan. Yeah, what a game that was. Yeah. Yeah, what a game. I need to put that on the screen. Sorry, there we go. We won't talk about Birmingham. No, that wasn't a day to remember, was it? Was that Vermeeren? A Belgian lad at the back had a bit of a shocker, didn't he? A young lad. Anyway. Yeah, Sano goes best game of his life, yeah. No, we won't talk about Birmingham. Although, just as a side note, I don't know if you did actually, if you watched the highlight of the ball, the EFL Trophy final being chaperoned on the pitch in that little remote controlled car. But there was an incident at Villa the other night in their Champions League game with PSG when the PA announcer put on the Europa League music. When obviously it should have been the Champions League music, and the camera cuts to, and I've seen some photographs since of the lineup where there's a few Villa players chuckling. There's some guys from PSG looking confused. Yeah. So, and apparently that person hasn't been sacked. It was an AI fault. Yeah, there was a gremlin in the waterworks on that one. But yeah, although actually I think someone did try and make a comment that it was done deliberately because Emery is Dracula's. He is a European Cup god, right? He's got such a great record that we put it on then to just remind him, and then we were going to fade. We're going to fade it into Champions League music. Yeah, bollocks. Somebody made a mistake. It doesn't matter. Great game, though, right? Didn't watch it, but great game. Not the outcome they wanted. Farmers League victorious again. Yeah, you should check that out, by the way. Yeah, it was very funny. What a gaff. One job, yeah? Press that button. Get the right soundtrack on. Dear me. Completely lost my train of thought. But, that happens, right? Dortmund, Gladbach. Yeah, we said there'd be goals. Yeah, I did that one. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's goals in it. Gladbach can score. If you've got Tim Kleinis in your team, you can score. That was it. I was checking the data, wasn't I? Yeah, then we ended up going down the rabbit hole of the DFB Pokal. Again, just confirmation that Arminia Bielefeld are second in Liga 3, which is a potential promotion to the Dritte Bundesliga as it stands, which is exciting. That could be cracking, that, Get promoted to the Dritte Bundesliga, and even if they come runner-up, doesn't matter. Still a fantastic season for Arminia Bielefeld. And then just confirmation again that Tim Kleinis has 15 goals. So there's goals in this game, which is exciting. Anyway. Should we do another fixture? I think we probably should. Where can we go after that? Where's everyone's interests? Let's go Leipzig. Yeah, let's go Leipzig. Leipzig, Kiel. Okay. Let's have a look at the lineups for that game. That, of course, is Xavi Simons. Simons, the Dutchman, did score a cracker, didn't he, against England FC in the Euros in the semi-final. That was it. That was a cracking performance. Anyway, Leipzig, Holstein, Kiel, 4th place versus 18th. I just wanted you to get visual confirmation of that one. We'll come back to that article because that's quite interesting. When could the title race be decided? Because I use my own maths to figure out it's 3 more wins. Right, so this is a Leipzig team featuring an Aston Villa player, by the way. Galassi in goal. It's what they're going with. No way they're going 4-4-2. That's interesting, isn't it? Right, Galassi in goal. Nedeljkovic, he's on loan from Aston Villa at right back. You've got Castello. Sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? Castello and back. No, that doesn't work, does it? Anyway, don't worry about it. Frank Castello at left back. Willy Orban, the veteran, is captain alongside. And I have problems with this one. Bishiabu. Bichiabu. It's French anyway, right? So it's a back 4. You got Riddle Baku. L. Ron Hubbard novel headline on the right. Nicholas Seawald and Arthur Vermeeren, the 2 young lads in the middle of midfield. And then Christian Baumgartner, big fan of his, the Austrian. Yeah, he's on the left. And then they're playing off Benjamin Tesco and Louis Openda. They are 4-4-2 for Leipzig. And then Marcel Rapp he's got a game on with this one. Thomas Dane in goal. Back three of Becker, Zek and Kamada. There's like 50. Well, they need 15 in midfield, right? They'll probably need 15 at the back. Rosenboom, Maxi Knudsen, Arthur Jigovic, the Bosnian-Herzegovinian, Nicholas Remberg, and then J.R.R. Tolkien. And Kiel potentially are going with Alexander Bernhardsen and the Japanese Mashino up front. There's your potential lineups. Again, we've done the table. It's fourth, plays 18th. 70 goals conceded this season, Holstein Kiel. Oh dear. Leipzig, meanwhile, have scored 47. I know for a fact, without checking, that Leipzig have won 2-2 because they brought in, Jurgen Klopp's brought in a new manager. Let's take a look at the form. So, as it stands, last three games, like I say, Leipzig 1-2, lost 1, scored 6, conceded 4. Holstein Kiel, drawn 1, lost 2, scored twice, conceded 6. I could do that even quicker if you like me to. There you go. So, that Holstein Kiel, that draw was against Mainz. That was a game they were 1-0 up in, by the way. That was a game that cost us, well, it didn't cost us anything really, but we made a prediction with virtual money and we lost out big time because I was convinced that Mainz were going to win 4-0. And it took what's his name? The Viper. What's his first name? Nelson Viper. What a great name, by the way. Sounds like a Bond villain, doesn't it? Nelson Viper got the equaliser. That was a game they drew 1-1. And then we're just checking. The Leipzig last three games. If you don't count their Pokal loss in the semi-final to Stuttgart. Oh yeah, there's that cracker, wasn't they? Match day 29 where they were 2-0 up early on and won that game 3-2 against Wolfsburg. Then they beat Hoffenheim. Remember that one, yeah? Despite a Peter Glassie howler, Riddleback scored his first goal for the club. And then prior to that, they'd lost 1-0 at Gladbach, which was ultimately the last outing on the coach for Marco Rose. Hopefully they didn't make him walk home. That's quite a trek, that. Because Germany's a very big country, as we found out last summer. So, quickly. He's laughing again. What have I said this time? I don't know what I've said this time, but let's look at the prediction. There you go. We're going 3-1 home win because, again, Kiel are pretty shaky on the road and have conceded a lot of goals. Leipzig, it feels like a third win on the spin, which would do them their Champions League qualification bid absolute wonders if they were to win this one. Yeah, we're going 3-1 home win. Which an extra 3 points would see them level with Frankfurt. Depends how Mainz get on, Anyway, but it would keep them in the running for another Champions League place next year. Let's hope they have a better campaign because this year's campaign was shocking, right? Played 8, lost 7, won 1, and that win was 2-1 at home to Sporting Lisbon or Sporting Club de Lisbon, however you want to say it, depending if you're a hipster or not. In a game where they didn't even bother playing Gokares. Now, was that because it was during the transfer window, which was closing, and there was a lot of hype around him and they didn't play him because they thought he was going to be gone? Either way, yeah, 1 win in 8 in a Champions League campaign. That's disappointing, which ultimately is another factor as to why Marco Rose was let go. So yeah, we're going 3-1 home win. which would make it 2 home wins on the spin and 3 wins on the bounce, which would be great. Yeah. Has he scored 10 this season so far? 11 goals for Tesco. Every little helps. Openda with 9, Simmons with 9, which is fascinating. And then for Holstein Kiel, we could just take a quick look, right? Because goals have been at a pretty... I scored 30 times all season. Who's scoring the goals for them? Oh, yeah, of course, it's Phil Harris, isn't it? Yeah. Who sounds English, but he isn't. He's German. He's an under-21 star. Shuto Machino's got 7. Steven Skripski's got 5. Alex Bernhardsen, who's getting more game time lately, he's got 4. As has the Bosnian and Herzegovinian. I'd love to go there on holiday, actually. I've indirectly spoken to Edin Dzeko on the phone. I've got his autograph. I played in a 5-a-side tournament in Dubrovnik and hadn't played in goal for 8 years despite having a football child as a goalkeeper. No sooner had I put the glove on, I put my arm out to save a shot, my wrist cocked back. I took the glove off and I had fingers like pipe cleaners. And the taxi driver was an ex-footballer as well. And his best mate was Edin Dzeko, who was opening a hotel in Dubrovnik. And I spoke to him on the phone. But bearing in mind I was smacked off my tits on morphine. Yeah, it was just like, oh, you were brilliant at Roma. Loved you at Roma. You played in the Premier League, didn't you? And then that was it, yeah. 6 hours in A&E. £63.58. Always remember to buy insurance, people, when you travel abroad. And 7 weeks in a plaster cast, yeah. Well, I couldn't play my guitar, so there you go. The lesson for that one was just stick to playing outfield. It's a lot safer. But I did speak to Dzeko, and I have got his autograph. There you go. Another story for you. Another one. Another 2 minutes that you never get back. Riddle back coup. Feels like we've covered 4, possibly 5. Let's go Wolfsburg. Yeah, let's go Wolfsburg. Okay. Mainz, whose form has dropped off of late, versus Wolfsburg. Now that's a kit, right? Who am I watching at the minute? A favourite of mine on YouTube, Kieran, who's best mates with Away Days. Fucking, I forgot his name now. The lad off Away Days. Anyway, his mate Kieran, who does all his editing, his graphics, something CFC. He does his channel. He's been reviewing leaked kits at the minute, and that's quite funny. It's quite a funny YouTube channel. Oh, how come my brain always goes to shit? Kieran Carlin, that's it. CCFC, yeah. He's been covering kits. Just really funny, on the money, way more autistic than what I am. Yeah. Lots of sexual innuendos. Check that guy out if you haven't already. I do like that Wolfsburg kit. That was my point. Sorry. Yeah. Anyone that plays in green gets my vote. Again, I went there this season. The kickoff, the first game of the season. I went to see Leipzig away on the Friday at Gladbach, and on the Sunday, I went to the Volkswagen Arena to watch Wolfsburg versus Munich. I'm the most pissed up I think I've ever been in my entire life because of that wheat beer in the hot sun. And it was a 3-2. It was a cracker. Cracking game. And that's Wolfsburg, innit? Bless you. Someone's sneezed outside. Wolfsburg are really good on the road. Should live out of a suitcase. just not consistent enough at home. And Ralph Hussenhattel could well be staring down the barrel. Did he play that game? Okay, that's interesting. I remember there was another big unit up front. It was Swedish. What was he called? Hard Lard, something like that. Sporting Club de Portugal. Oh, they've got a Conrad. Conrad Harder. That was his name. Again, anyone that's called Conrad gets our vote. Let's go down a rabbit hole on video games. Conrad Hart's the main character in Flashback. Oh, what a game that was. Side-scrolling, platformer, futuristic, rotoscoping animation sequences. Conrad Hart, what a game. And then my other favourite, with another strong character name, it's got to be Guybrush Threepwood, right? The wannabe pirate from Monkey Island. Conrad Harder, yeah. I'm never going to doubt you, Shades, my friend. I'm just intrigued. I want to see. I want to believe. I do believe. I believe. Where's that Leipzig game gone? There we go. 2-1. I'm sure I said he came off. We're both right. I'm sure I said he came off the bench. I probably didn't, and I'll find out in the edit, and I'll call you out, and I'll ding it. But yeah, Conrad Harder, Trincao, yeah. And I remember Hullmand. Remember that guy in midfield because I've looked at him before on FM as a potential signing. Conrad Harder. 18 appearances off the bench, but he has played 24 times, scored 5, made 4. Well, 4 assists. And just before I close this, well, before we fill this rabbit hole in with dirt, 1 second. Morten Holmand, not Robin. There probably is a Robin Holmand out there, right? Probably works in IT. There is no Robin Holman, right? He probably has got a brother, though. Who were we talking with the other day where they said that Martin Odegaard's got a brother? Oh, it was Gary the Deaf Gamer, who was streaming on Twitch as SK Bran. He was convinced that... Well, you'll know this, Shades, man. Odegaard's he got a brother? Yeah, he has got a brother, but does that brother play football in... Norway? I'm not sure he does. He could do, although that's not me shitting on the quality of that country's domestic football, because I'm not Taft, man, right? If he was from Mali, well, that's a different story, isn't it? But you know, I'm going to protect the Scandinavian Brotherhood. Should we get back to Mainz and Wolfsburg? Do you know, I felt like I'd set you up for that one. There's the comment. That's the comment of the day. That is Martin Odegaard's brother any better than him? Now I can hear your voice and see your. I've never seen your face, and it's okay. It's all good. But I can hear the cynicism in your voice as you were saying that internally as a dialogue and as you were typing it. Yeah, Christ, any Dortmund fans out there worried about Julian Brandt not turning up? Well, Mr. Shadesman is convinced that Odegaard hasn't turned up this season. Do you know what? I'm just going to make a quick running repair to this, so I don't have to keep going back and forth with that screen. Let's So I'll put that there. Let's just add. Oh, I'm going to edit all this down. I have no idea, by the way. Thankfully, there's no games today. So, live screen chat. There you go. Right. That's it. There we go. Look, right. I don't have to keep swapping between screens now. I'm happy. I'm happy. You're happy. Martin Odegaard's brother's happy. I like the fact it was cached as a. It was cached as a search. Christopher with a K and double F. Christopher, not Christopher Christopherson, but Christopher Odegaard is brother to Norwegian soccer player Martin. There you go. I don't believe he plays football. Well, maybe he does. I don't think the part counts, does it? Although, what about all of Pele's goals? God bless him. Some of them were in the park, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? You would take Brandt over Odegaard. Yeah, I mean, I could get behind that, and Gonzo's convinced it's going to happen one day anyway. What age is he now, though? He's 28, so it's not going to happen, is it? Really, he's not coming in at age 28. If it was 23, 24, possibly. Still sign him on FM. Although not for Werder Bremen, because we've got no green as it is. Yeah, we ain't got no green. Mainz then. Robin Zentner. Is he on? Oh, do you know what? I'm going to buy a second monitor because I can't keep doing this all the time. It's going to kill me. Robin Zentner, 9 clean sheets this season. So he's in the top 5, which is fascinating. 9 clean sheets for Robin Zentner. That's a... Oh, they're going... What's that? Is that a 3-4-3 effectively? Danny Da Costa at right back, very effective. Maurice Jens and Dominic Kerr, that's your back 3. Vildmar, captain, next to Kaisho Sano, Nadim Amiri, and Anthony Cassie. That's a very... On paper, that's a very strong midfield. And then Nelson Viper playing alongside Lee. And Johnny Bakeout, who's usually the captain up front, who's on 15 goals this season. He hasn't scored in 3 though, so he's gone off the ball slightly. Yeah, there's your main side, which again, this is uncharted territory for them, considering their position in the table. Yeah, considering they were nearly relegated last year, they're in 5th currently, and have been as high as 3rd, and will with a win, will want to see themselves get back up there too. For Wolfsburg, then it's Phantom the Opera in goal, Grabara, back 4 of Fischer, Dennis Ravro, Kouliakis, and Joachim Meiler, who got an assist in the last game. So midfield 3, they're going 4-3-3 then of Dardai, Maxi Arnold, the captain, and Patrick Wimmer, big fan of the Swede. And then they've got Thiago Tomas, the Portuguese attacking midfielder, alongside Mohamed Amore, and Jonas Wind, the striker. Well, technically, I guess he's the in Football Manager parlance. He's a deep line forward, isn't he, on that game? And he saved me a few times on various saves. There's your Wolfsburg side. So again, great team on the road. Away from home, top 4 side. Won 7. Drawn 2, lost 5. Scored a lot of goals. 26 goals away from home. Which is the 4th highest. Only 1 goal off Mainz, which is quite quirky because that's who they're playing. But obviously Mainz are the home team. And he conceded 18 times on the road. Scored a lot of goals from set pieces, I recall. I think it's 16 goals from set pieces, Wolfsburg. That's because they've got, Kaminski. We like him, the Polish winger. He doesn't usually get his start. He comes off the bench a lot. They've got him and they've got Arnold and they've got Myler, the free kick specialists. So it could be an interesting game, this one. Just quickly in terms of the form, last 3 games. I don't need to look at Wolfsburg because they've lost 4 in a row. 3 1-0s and a 3-2 home loss to Leipzig. And then Mainz, they're stuttering. Yeah. Drawn 1, lost 2 in their last few outings. And even, let's have a look. Yeah, that was that shock away loss to Hoffenheim 2-0. Drew with Kiel in a game they had to save, in a game that we were convinced they should have won. And then, yes, that was coming off the back of Dortmund's their resurgence with their Champions League aspirations in mind. So that's where we are there. Time for a prediction. Grabbing the file, sorry about that. There you go. Another game with goals, because again 3-2 is quite a common result for Wolfsburg this season. They're better on the road, having won 7 times. Mainz are pretty tight though. They haven't conceded many goals at home either, and they can score. And they're due a flood of goals, or a glut of goals. They haven't scored many in their last few games. So yeah, we feel that Hasenhüttl will be demanding a lot of his lads. He'll want to stop that 4-game loss streak, and he'll do it away from home because they've been very effective on the road. So yeah, that's our prediction for that one. 3-2 Wolfsburg away win. If people are still in the chat, I'd be very grateful. Feel free to drop your comments. I understand that we're some of these fixtures are not as sexy as teams involving the likes of Munich and Leverkusen and Dortmund, because we've covered most of them. But again, it's still a healthy league, and there's still a lot to play for, right? It's still exciting, both top and bottom. If we take a look at the table, there's still a lot to be played for. We haven't spoken about Bochum yet, so let's do that one. Right, so let's talk about Bochum away at the informed team, Werder Bremen. Let's have a look at the lineups. You're here always. I know, buddy. I know, and it means a lot. Going to pin that as the message at the top. You're always there, you're always listening. Yeah, I know, buddy. And it means a lot. It means a lot. Again, it's a safe space. Men cry too. We're authentic here. We can be ourselves. I have started a Discord channel. I'm surprised that the Nightbot hasn't dropped that one in, but we have got one. Obviously, it's a bit sparse at the minute because we're trying to get this channel off the ground. For anyone interested, though, link to the Discord. He's in the chat. He's in the chat. As he tries to mimic Taffman there. Nice, I'll jump in. Followed you on Twitch too. Thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, again, the plan yesterday was to open some stickers and then play FM, but I was shattered. You know, I was really tired yesterday. It's been a long slog. You know, lots of. I mean, it's fabulous that people are in the chat. It's great that these videos these live streams take on a life of their own. It's a fucking nightmare to edit. However, if there's one thing I do enjoy in life, apart from talking football, it's editing. I really enjoy editing. So it's actually quite a dream to take care of it. I was knackered, so I didn't get a chance to come back on, but I will be over the weekend, and hopefully today we can get on Twitch and play some FM. I just focusing on YouTube because it's, well, I think we put a pin in the ground, as you can see in the bottom graphic. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. We've got 38 so far, 36, 37, 38, something like that. You know, so it's a long way, but it's picking up momentum, you know, like the proverbial Rolling Stone. Other folk songs are available. I always prefer Johnny Cash anyway. Yeah. I always prefer Johnny Cash. What was we doing? I was looking at the lineups, weren't we? If I went quiet, you could probably anticipate what I was trying to look for. I forgot his name. It was Bob Dylan. His name completely escaped me. I don't like anyone that sits with a back to the crowd on stage. It's just arrogant. It's really arrogant. You should never do that. I know he's an icon. I know he's a folk hero icon that's inspired generations of other singers, but don't sing with your back to stage, man. Come on. Anyway, Johnny Cash, what a legend. Chicken in Black. If you've not heard that song, check that one out. That's the great thing about Johnny Cash is he had a sense of humour. He was a mischievous guy, that bit of a womanizer, liked to drink. But Folsom Prison Blues, some of his live performances, and Chicken in Black. Oh man, what a storyteller. Oh, giving me goosebumps. It's that funny. Right. Werder Bremen, Bochum. As we've got 3 games to go, I make it 3 games to go. And we've got Michael, etc. in goal. They've got a back 3 of Ned Stark, Marcus Friedel, captain, and Amos, not Wilkes. That's me showing my age again. Amos Wilkes. Coronation Street or Emmerdale? Feels more like Emmerdale. Classic soaps from the UK. Not that I watch any. Because I spend my life on the internet. Michael Weiser, Nicholas Starg, Senny Leinen, and Romano Schmidt, and then Felix Agu. So Weiser right, Felix Agu on the left. That's in a 3-5-2. And this time, Ollie Werner's had the genius to pair man of the moment, the Renaissance man, Ollie Burke, up front with the mighty Marvin Dushk. That's a great formation, That's a great lineup as well from Bremen. Yeah, I've got a bit of a soft spot for them, I've got to admit. I haven't won a trophy in a long time, and we're victim to Arminia Bielefeld in their cup run, so we'll give them that one. But yeah, there's your Werder Bremen lineup. Sinny Lynham, Belgian, talented player actually. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Oh, no Marlon, Marko Velkovic, he's out injured, along with Derek Kern, who's an impressive winger himself. Is he on loan from Manchester City, or is that Boré? Might have got that wrong. Either way, on to Bochum. Timo Horn. This is a team that's conceded, I believe it's 68 goals in this campaign. Let's double check that. I'm sure it's an eye-watering number. 61. There you go. Sorry. Well, it might well be 68 off the back of this one. No, Werder Bremen don't score that many. They're good. Always good for a 3-2 where they come back from behind and then score that go ahead. Or they're good for a 1 or 2-0, but they're not scoring 4, 5, and 6s. That's not Werder Bremen. That's not why people get behind them. Anyway, another 3-5-2 formation, it looks like, for Bochum. Uman, Medic, and Bernardo, the Brazilian, the back three. Felix Paslak, once of Borussia Dortmund, on the right. Maxi Vitek on the left. Midfield three of Panawig, Tom Kraus, and Ibrahim Sissoko, who's a man-mountain of a guy. And up front, it's the Greek. Get me to the Greek. It's Masouras, who came in January from Olympiacos, next to Philip the Tall One Hoffman, who I'm sure, if Rise was around from Rise Footy Paradise, he'd be giving it the my tips. My tips would be that Bochum are going to win. We don't agree. I'll come back to that comment because it's just it's caught my eye. Let's just finish this off. It's a prediction, isn't it? Sorry, it's a prediction. There you go. We're going 2-0 Werder Bremen because they're good for a 2-0. That'll be their fourth win on the spin and would give them a chance in the scrap for a European place. And Bochum are just they're sad on the road. Bless them. Away from home, Bochum have only won twice and have lost 10, conceded 33 on the road. Last three games have been one of each, please. One of each for Bochum. A draw, a win, and a loss last time out. There was a loss in there, 4-0 to Stuttgart, I recall, as well at some point. As for Werder, they're the form team. As it stands, won their last three, scored 7, only conceded the 1. And that was against Stuttgart, in a game where Nick Voltemato, who's the future of Germany, the future Bayern Munich striker. You heard it here first. I should be ringing the bell, but that's for cliches only, really. But yeah, I could see Nick Voltemato signing for Munich. If not this summer, then maybe the one after. He's the future. He really is. Scored a gorgeous hat-trick for Die Mannschafts under-21s against Spain recently. That's worth looking at. They're just a sad team, unfortunately. Bochum, currently in 17th. 2 points adrift of Heidenheim. Even if they got a point out of this game, it'd still be a point off Heidenheim. That's assuming that Heidenheim don't beat Munich, which I think we've agreed that collectively that that's an away win. So yeah, that one's that one. Right, let's get to this comment then, because it caught my eye. Wicked, thanks for following us. We appreciate that one. Mr. Shades, nice I'll jump in, followed you on Twitch. Yeah, very grateful. So what was this? Right, so are we saying Bob Dylan did the Poznan to his audience? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah. I mean, not every gig, obviously, because he wouldn't get many bookings, would he? But I'm pretty sure at his peak, there was a case of, minimalist stage, maybe a bit of sawdust, one chair, facing the other way, spotlight, came out, sat down, played looking at the wall. Not for me. Again, Johnny Cash, please. I once sang A Boy Named Sue whilst in the deep south of America in a beer cellar of 400 people, and I really enjoyed it. And I put the mic back in the stand and stood there. Crickets. 3 seconds, 4, 5 seconds later, everyone's up. Everyone's having a great time. I was like, whew, got away with that one. I said, I'll do it. No, you won't. No, one's enough. Which, I suppose 2 would have been pushing it, I suppose. But, yeah. Tough one as well, Boy Named Sue. A lot of words. Okay, again, natural born storyteller with harmonies and a riff that everyone can tap along to. Yeah, it's worth looking into. In fact, I'll do that for the VOD. I'll put an overlay saying exactly which gig that he did. He did the Poznan to his audience. We must be nearly there now. There's 3 left. Let's go Freiburg, Hoffenheim. Actually, I'll look at the table first. Freiburg in 6th, which that is occupying the last European place up for grabs. That's the Conference League. Really, they, like everybody else, wants to be Champions League, right? Or even Europa League, right? So they're a point off a Europa League place as it stands, 1 point off Mainz, 3 points behind Leipzig. It feels like that gap is going to get wider. So for Freiburg then, they're competing with Mainz as it stands for Europa League, which is respectable. Still Thursday night with Pat Nevin on Channel 5. It's not anymore though, is it? It's some of those games are on Channel 4. Or whoever is streaming games in your domestic country, whether it's the likes of DAZN, or Sky, or the DFB player, or someone native to you. Anyway. Yeah, for Freiburg, they at one point were on it was a huge unbeaten run, wasn't it? Was it? Yeah, they were on a 7-game unbeaten streak. That was halted. Let's have a look at that just to get this right, because yeah, 7-game unbeaten streak was halted by Union Berlin. Then they got smashed by Dortmund 4-1 away, who had smashed them 4-0 in the previous game. And then they beat Gladbach, which was a shock, really, because, again, Gladbach up until that point were 3 games unbeaten with 2 wins and a draw. So that was quite surprising, that result. That's Freiburg. And then Hoffenheim. I recall last time out they won 2-0, which was to get that monkey off their back of not having a clean sheet at home in 36 games. So they've dealt with that one, which is great. Their last 3 is same again. It's a it's a strike it lucky. It's one of each. Last time out they beat Mainz at home, which again was a shock because Bo Henriksen's really tuned that team in. They're really fierce on the road. 27 goals away from home. Mainz form's dipped off lately. Hoffenheim lost 3-1. That was it. Lost 3-1 under brilliant blue skies in the Red Bull Arena to Leipzig. Riddlebacher getting his first goal of the club. And then before that, it was a 1-0 with Augsburg, who at one point in the season were 11 games unbeaten. So these provincial teams, these provincial cities, really shaking up the Bundesliga this season. And that's one hell of a story as well. So let's come back here to the probable lineups. Who's Julian Schuster going to be picking for his 11, according to the writers of this site? Well, it's Muller in goal. It's a back four of Kubler, Christian Ginter, the Lionheart, and Christian Gunter. Hardworking Maxi Egerstein next to Patrick Oosterhoek in that double pivot in the 4-4-2 midfield. And then the attacking 3 players of Ritsu Doan, the old man Vincenzo Grifo, and Lucas Hulje. That's the 3. And they're all playing off Michael Gregorich, once of RB Leipzig. Yeah, big fan of Gregorich, actually. Did he play for Hoffenheim as well? Oh, see, this is the problem, isn't it? You say things out loud, and then I've got to go and investigate, which with a second monitor would be a damn sight easier. I need to go to Transfer Market. Freiburg. Uppercut. I know he's Austrian, yeah. I've got that much right. Transfer Market. Unless anyone in the chat's aware who's Michael Gregorich formerly played for. Schalke, of course. Yes, of course. Do you know what? This guy's been around, actually. I thought it was Leipzig. I've confused him with Nicholas Seewald because he's also Austrian. Formerly of Hamburg, Schalke, and Augsburg, because we did a video on Augsburg. Again, there'll be a link. There'll be a link in the description for you to check that one out. Size doesn't matter. That was the catchy title with thumbnail supporting it. Of course, he played for Augsburg. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did play for Hoffenheim, didn't he? Yeah, I'm doubting myself there. And Bochum. Wow, he's done the... And St. Pauli, he's done the rounds, hasn't he? I mean, he's 31. He's very young in that picture. Mind you, they've got a better diet, haven't they? I really enjoyed my time in Austria. Yeah, as he points to his Rapid Vienna. Unfortunately, their European dream came to an end as well last night in the Conference League. Yeah, that's a shame. Was it Legia Warsaw, I think, that beat him in the end? Again, stop saying these things out loud, Craig. He's creating more chaos. Yeah, Conference League, yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't Legia Warsaw. That was Chelsea. It was Djurgården? I don't know. Wow, they had 2 people sent off. Rapid Vienna. Wow. Let's again, we're here, aren't we? We're here having fun. We might as well look at it. Check that out, look. 2 red cards in that game. Well, smash 4-1 at home. It's a beautiful ground as well, or stadion. You got to get an overground train out to it. It takes about 20 minutes, but yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, it's the Allianz, isn't it? It's an Allianz sponsored stadion. Wow. 2 red cards. Where are they from then? Because you know this, don't you, Mr. Shade? Oh, I forgot to put it on the screen. Sorry, there you go. There's a lot going on. You know, another 10 streams and I'll be like water. I'll be Bruce Lee with all this. Swedish. Oh, okay, Swedish. In the Allsvenskan. Well, they're 12th in their domestic division. Oh, of course, it's yeah. Is this another one of these leagues that? Do you know who would be useful for this right now? Fi. I know he's Norwegian, however, he would know, wouldn't he? Hammarby, of course. AIK Malmo. I've walked around the ground. I've not been in it in my travels. I would like to, though. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. 4-1 at home to the Swedes. Fascinating. Oh, come on, son. Let's go back to the Bundesliga, just briefly. Someone came in the chat yesterday, if you recall, and did offer an idea. So I've got an idea for you. How about you rename the channel and cover every club, you know? And the way these streams are going, not a bad shout, is it? Because My autism struggles to just focus on one task at a time, because there's so much that could be said, right? We could do a lot of damage with a lot of clubs. I wouldn't get a lot of sleep. I'd be getting less sleep than Maggie Thatcher if I did that. It's good to niche though, isn't it? There's a lot of fun in the niche, a lot of geekery in the niche, a lot of data in the niche. Why use one word when three will do, eh? So we covered off the potential lineups. I'm having a look at the table. See Bochum again. Two points adrift of Frank Schmidt, Heidenheim. They need the win. Freiburg need the win because they're pushing for Europe, because they're in 6th. Let's bring our prediction on the screen. There you go. We're going 1-0 home win Freiburg. And that's on the basis that, similar to St. Pauli, Freiburg are pretty miserly, got a pretty tight defence. Don't score many times at home, though. What's that? Let's have a look at that. And he conceded 19 goals at home, which is... That's not too bad, you know. Well, it's, considering that Munich have conceded 16 at home and Mainz have only conceded 13. So it's not too bad. Don't score many there, I recall, at home. Again, St. Pauli have only scored 9 all season. Freiburg have scored 26 though. So yeah, I can see this being 1-0. And again, we're talking about Bochum. So Bochum away from home. I've scored just the 15 goals and shipped 33. And I've lost 10 on the road. So actually, 1-0's been pretty generous. Rise won't enjoy that one. It's the reality though, isn't it? You know, again, it's... It's not Bochum and it's Hoffenheim, isn't it? Because, I should have looked at your comment there. Well, everything I've just said is accurate about Freiburg. What was we talking about? Hoffenheim. Okay, well, they've scored... They're the lowest scorers away from home. God, even St. Pauli scored more away. Christ. St. Pauli have scored 16 goals on the road. Hoffenheim have only scored 13. And yet somehow they've still managed to win 3 times, which is only 2 less than St. Pauli on the road. Hoffenheim, 13 points on the road this season. Conceded 23. We do like Tom Bischoff, Anton Stack. Again, I always like to sign those two whenever I can on Football Manager. Yeah, I'm still sticking with that. Yeah, 1-0's generous. 1-0's a generous result. Okay then. 2 to go. 2 to go. Let's go Augsburg, Frankfurt. Yeah, let's do that one. Augsburg, Frankfurt. Oh, looks good in that jacket, doesn't it? Oh, top moller. We need to turn our focus back to the Bundesliga as quickly as possible. That's because they lost at home last night to Tottenham in the Europa League. We've won 3 out of the last 4 league matches and want to carry this confidence forward into this game. Augsburg are very strong in the challenge. That is correct. So it's going to be an exciting contest. We know how important this match is. Dino Topmöller, son of Klaus Topmöller, who also managed in the Bundesliga previously. I think he managed Frankfurt for a season once. You can't do things like this, son, and expect no one to pick up on it. Klaus Topmöller. He did manage Frankfurt for a season. Yeah, I thought he did. 93-94. Was Leverkusen manager? Of course he was. During their Champions League run to the final with Luciao at the back. And that absolute worldie of a goal from Zinedine Zidane. Yeah, of course he was manager with his distinct curly... Who's the golfer? Why has my mic gone blank? Colin. Colin Montgomery. Yeah. Not Colin Morikawa, who's Japanese. Very different Pantone there, yeah. Klaus Toppmann has got very distinct curly hair. A little bit like Bob Dylan. And a little bit like Colin Montgomery, the golfer. There you go. Mario Götze went off injured last night. Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? There'll be no Mad Mario. No Mad Mario in that one. Right. Augsburg. Oh, Finn Darman. He's kept, is it at least 9? It must be 9 clean sheets this season. Finn Darman, 8 clean sheets so far this season. Curiously, 5 of those have come away from home. Again, at one point, they were on an 11-game unbeaten streak. Let's get you joined on this action. Finn Darman in goal. The back three of Krislin, Matsima, Big Jeff, Gawaliwu, who's the captain, and Zeisiger. You can probably tell, by the way, if I don't know what their first name is, that's why I don't mention it. By the end of the season, I will. I'll be on personal terms with all these players. Marius Wolf, Jakic, Frank Onyeka, and Dimitri Giannoulis, the Greek. That's your midfield. 4. That's interesting formation, isn't it? 3-4-3, yeah, okay. And then Rek Becher, Alexi Claude-Maurice, and Samuel Essender. There's your lineup, potential lineup for Augsburg. Alexi Claude-Maurice is, excuse me, on a purple patch this season. I believe he scored 9 and assisted 1. I'm just going to check that. We did a whole video on Augsburg, by the way. We did that a few weeks back, just looking at their unprecedented run this season. Because, again, they were 11 games unbeaten. Not bad for a city with a population of 333,000, which is the 14th biggest city in Germany. On my bucket list. And they have a history. The city's history was effectively founded by a family called the Fuckers. Actually, it was Fuggers, but Fuggers does translate from German into English as the Fuckers, which is why I tried to be clever with my thumbnail, and it mimicked that movie poster of Meet the Fuckers. It was clever. Didn't get many click-throughs, but, you know, I thought it was clever. Meet the Fuggers. Alexi Claude-Maurice, 9 goals, 2 assists so far this season. So I just wanted to check that. I was fascinated. Samuel Essender, the French striker, he scored 7, assisted 2. Philippe Tietz, here's another striker that they sometimes rotate in and out. He scored 6 with 2 assists. And then Kevin Slotterbeck, older brother of Nico, who was player of the month, by the way, for March in the Bundesliga, who's out now injured for the rest of the season. His older brother Kevin plays for Augsburg. He scored 3 times, and that's not bad for a defender. Krislin Matsima, he scored 1. Technically, he scored 2 because that Leroy Sané goal, the 3rd goal in the Bavarian derby, was taken off Sané and credited as an own goal. Elvis has left the building. Well, technically he won't because he's playing at home, but Elvis Reckbecker, yeah, got to look at him. German, 27, midfielder. We used to do this whole one to watch feature, which we should bring back, really. Bit tricky doing it as a live stream because it's not only is it a fuck ton of graphics, but there's a lot of screens to keep swapping between. But anyway, yeah, Elvis Reckbecker, attacking midfielder. Are we still live? Can somebody confirm that? Are we still live? Because a notification popped up there, presumably because it's been going for 2 hours plus. If there is anybody in the chat, hopefully there is. If you could just confirm that we're still live, that would be wonderbar. And again, if you are in the chat, feel free to drop your comments. Let us know which team you like to follow, which team that you would die for, you run through walls for, which team gets you up and out of bed in the morning. Doesn't have to be Bundesliga. Doesn't have to be Bundesliga. We are not xenophobic here. It's a safe space. Men cry too. Let us know your teams. Let us know the teams that you don't like. Give us your bants. Yeah, just whatever's on your mind, really. Just 2 rules. No religion, no politics. And I guess the third one is you laugh with, not at. I assume we're still live because the numbers are still logging, still rolling over. I'll have a quick check. Are we still live? Yeah, it looks like we are. Looks like we're still live. Yeah, we're still live. Fantastic. We'll crack on then. Yeah, right. So Frankfurt. Santos in goal. Back for Rasmus Christiansen, Tuta, Robin Koch, and Arthur Thete, the Belgian at left back. Scary. Elias Scary played next to Oscar Hoyland, younger brother of Rasmus. And then we've got Angsgnar Knauf. He's a talent, that boy. Attacking midfielder being played on the left. Jean Matteo Bohoya on the right is the attacking midfielder. And then young Chaz Uzun in the middle. All playing off Hugo Ekitike. And I know how much Mr. Shades is a fan of Ekitike. Who, as it stands, is one of the top scorers this season in the Bundesliga. He's on 14, so he's just behind that quartet of Kleindist, Girassi, Marmouche, who's greyed out, and Johnny Burkout. So yeah, 14 goals, sorry. Technically 6, because again, Marmouche isn't there. But, you know, I'm not going to take his 15 goals away from him. I'd take some of those Pele goals off him. Don't hurt me, football gods, but come on. Like, you know, some of them were in the park, weren't they? Yeah, Ekitike. Let's just get some numbers on Frankfurt, because I'm interested. Where's all those goals come from this season? Apart from Mamouche, Chanozan. Well, that's quite a drop, isn't it, really? Like, this just proves how dependent they were on Mamouche. And I know they've since replaced him. Well, they've brought replacements in. They've brought Brat Shuai in, the Belgian. They brought in Eli Wahi from Marseille. But look at that there, right? So that's 29 goals from Marmouche and Ekitike. This is just in the Bundesliga, I might add. Yeah, 15 Marmouche, 14 Ekitike. And then there's a drop-off down to 4, right? So third highest scorer for Frankfurt is Chanelzan with 4. Hugo Larsson, the Swede, with 3. Mad Mario Goetze, the diminutive icon in midfield, he's only got 3. Nathaniel Brown's got 3. Bohoya, there's a bunch of people that scored 2, but that's quite a significant drop-off, right? Which proves that, yeah, it was great transfer business for a team like Frankfurt. What was the final? Well, it's not a final total because there'd be add-ons, but it felt like it's in the 60 millions, right? 60 million euro at least for that transfer. So good business, but they've struggled since. Although, to be fair, Dino Topmiller, like he says in his post-match Europa League game, you know, they have turned things around of late. Yeah, if we just look here. So 3 wins out of 4 in the Bundesliga. That's that surprise loss away to Werder Bremen, which, again, they're always good for a 2-0. They always throw up a surprise, but other than that, yeah, there was that away win to Bochum. That was the one where the ultras, the away fans, really have Frankfurt Ultras refused to bring down their banners, which were covering the security exits. So that game was delayed by at least an hour. So a lot of those Ultras would have missed all those goals going in. And then they won at home in the Deutsche Bank Arena, which is massive. They beat Stuttgart 1-0. And then, obviously, they turned over Frank Schmidt's Heidenheim 3-0 last Sunday. So three wins out of 4. They're out of Europe now, so they can just focus exclusively on this, with this being this Champions League. Oh, sorry, there's some comments here. I don't want to miss these ones, but let's get these on the screen. What we're saying here. Teams you like watching, Mr. Shades. Bournemouth, Betis, PSG and Getafe, because of their shit house is fascinating. Yeah, again, income's pretty sparse this end. So, we watch what we can when we can. But I don't get a chance to watch much Spanish games because they were like their premium subscription services. So I don't watch much. I don't watch any Spanish. I think the last Spanish game I watched was when I was in hospital earlier this year, and bizarrely, it was. Who was that? Was that Girona? I think it was Girona, Barcelona. Anyway, it was like nil. I think it was 0-0. And I'm like, there was a lot of drugs in my body. So I was like, is this real? Like, how come they're struggling to put this team to bed? Anyway, again, that's a team with Lewandowski, Rafinha, Lamal, Ferran Lopez, all that attacking quartet. Yeah, anyway, that's the last Spanish game I watched. You like Inter? Yeah, we know that Nico likes Inter. Sorry, I should put that on the screen. You like Inter? Newcastle too. Yeah, again, done some good FM saves with Newcastle before the money from the Desert Rats piled into the club. I've been to see AC Milan, sorry, as Stefano will correct me, a few times this year. I've enjoyed my time in the San Siro. What was your comment about Ekitike? Not so much if Bahoya dropped a generational stinker. Again, I didn't watch the full game because I was editing and modding for Northern Pilgrim. But yeah, he's only young though, right? He's a young lad. He's got enough time to keep learning, and that's exciting about a lot of these teams in the Bundesliga, right? A lot of these the squad ages are quite young. There's a lot of scope for these players to grow. I mean, Bahoya's 19 years of age. It's been used a lot off the bench this season, 13 times. Ansgar, it's rumours that he's off to Liverpool in the summer. There's 23, 24, 25 million euro price tag on his head. Rasmussen's been hot and cold, but again, we call him a gypsy, not based on... Well, he's not Romanian, is he, for a start? He's Danish, just because he seems to be out on loan all the time. I think I'll miss him, though. Nathaniel Brown's only 21. Ekitike's only 22. Again, we did a whole video on Frankfurt recently because a subscriber asked us for it. And again, not going to open that Pandora's box, but they are technically still the third biggest club in the Bundesliga, and they're one of the big teams to have never won it before. They've won a German championship, but that was, off the top of my dome, that was in 1933. So the Bundesliga didn't actually come into play until 1963. So again, my video was all about one of the biggest teams to have never won the Bundesliga. So yeah, I got into a nice friendly argument with a diehard Eagles fan on TikTok, which again, we're on TikTok. We usually make predictions and put them on there. Can you imagine that? Me managing to keep to a minute, keep the word count under a minute. Oh Christ, yeah, they do have to be scripted, those videos. We got into some friendly banter about, well, your championship is my Bundesliga. Anyway, it's still statistically, anecdotally, and factually one of the biggest clubs in Germany to have never actually won the Bundesliga. Won't be this season, obviously, but who knows next year. But my point on that video was that they'll need to retain a lot of this young talent. They'll need to keep hold of a Knauf, a Thete, a Nathaniel Brown, a Collins, a Chanuzan. They need to keep hold of that talent. Even Hugo Larsson, he's only 20. Fares Chaibi, who's playing, he seems to be swapped in and out at the minute in that midfield. He's only 22. So it's a very, it's a very young team. Yeah, exciting future. But Ekitike, they've got to keep hold of him, because without him, there's no goals. There's no goals coming in, right? As we just anecdotally shared with you. 29 goals between a striker that's no longer there and a guy that's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. But he's adapting well, Ekitike. But without him, it's goals here and there from midfield. Will this be the last season for Goetze? I think he's probably got another couple in him, right? He's only 32. Muller's been kicked out at 35, but there's all sorts of politics around that. Interesting club, isn't it? An interesting boardroom dynamics at Munich. We covered that at the top of the show. We've done that in other live streams and other videos. There's people like the Bayern View that are closer to it than what we are. But yeah, just fascinating the way that club's run. But Muller, he's 35. It's likely that he'll end up in the MLS for a nice payday, get some sun on his back. He'll look. His 5 o'clock shadow will look good out there in California. I could see someone like Goetze going over there, because he'd be teaming up with Marco Reuser, not Marco Rosa, although he might manage in MLS. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Reuser and Reuser, two former World Cup winners from that 2014 team, which included Mr. Ozil. Feels like we've talked about these two teams a lot. I'm not really giving you many data points on their recent form, though, so I feel like I've got to address that. So the form, last 3 matches, these teams: Frankfurt, 2 wins and a loss out of their 3, scored 4, conceded 2. Scored 4, conceded 2. And then for Augsburg, at one point we're on an 11-game unbeaten run with Finn Darman in goal. Again, 8 clean sheets for him. Augsburg presently, it's another strike it lucky. It's one of each, please. Top, middle, bottom. 1 win, 1 dross. What, 1 dross? Well, last season it ended with a lot of dross because they lost 5 out of the last 6 last season, completely dropped off the map and missed out on all sorts of Europe last season. Finishing, I think it was 11th. Was it 11th or 7th? Oh, don't do this, Craig. But we have, and we're here, and we'll see this one out. Yeah, last season they lost 5 out of the last 6. Technically, they lost 7 out of the last 8. That included a 5-1 smashing away to Dortmund, and they finished that season. Yeah, I thought it was. I finished in 11th, 39 points from 34 games. This season, they're also in 11th in terms of form. Overall, they're in 10th on 42 points. Like I say, same points as Werder and Dortmund. Form-wise, though, Augsburg, yeah, like I say, it's one of each. What are they like at home? Oh, yeah, a miserly defence. Look at that. 16 scored, 15 have gone in, +1, 22 points, 6 wins, 4 losses, 4 draws. Frankfurt away from home, 6 wins, 3 losses, 5 draws, +1 goal difference. So that suggests to me this could be a pretty tight game. What does our survey say? I'm mixing my quiz shows there, aren't I? Our survey says Augsburg win 1-0 at home. Yeah. That European game will have sapped a lot of energy out of Frankfurt and the morale because they lost right. 1-0, 2-1 aggregate, dumped out by Spurs. So they'll be tired, morale will be down. Augsburg keep it tight. They've got Marius Wolf, who is effective when it comes to, I guess he's like Maxi Arnold at Wolfsburg when it comes to set pieces. Yeah, Marius, and they've got Janus, right, as well, who scored the absolute screamer in the Bavarian derby. Alexis Claude Maurice, he got a hat-trick recently against Gladbach, and Sami Ascender. So it's, yeah, and we know that Big Jeff's good at coming up from the back for set pieces, for corners and deep free kicks into the box. So, yeah, I'll stick with our 1-0 prediction at home. Yeah, Frankfurt will be tired. They'll be down on their luck. Although, again, in terms of what that will do for the European push, well, it won't help it, will it? Although, if Leipzig win, it makes things interesting, but they'd still be in third on goal difference. Yeah, if they lose 1-0, then that goes down to plus 15. If Leipzig win, it's fine, but Leipzig would have to score 5. But potentially that could happen against Kiel. We've not called it, but it could happen. Yeah. Okay then. So that's the prediction for that one. And by my calculations, by my my number wang, means there's only one game left. And that's the Street Fighters of Christian Baumgart's Union Berlin against Sebastian Hoeneß's Stuttgart, who are, as we've already said, are in the final of the DFB Pokal in May. Sebastian Hoeneß on facing Union Berlin. Let's just bring that on the screen so you can have a look with me. They've really settled into a rhythm. They bring high running and intensity to the pitch and are tough to break down. Add to the fact that we're playing at the Alten Foresteria, basically the shack in the woods, the hut in the woods, the wolf hut. I'm a woodjack and I'm a lumberjack and I'm all right. Yeah, they're playing in the woods, and that means there'll be a tough nut to crack or a tough piece of timber to hack. If Robin Hack was playing, that would be a beautiful segue. Anyway, let's have a look at the lineups. I'm a lumberjack and I'm all right. Who's that? That's Monty Python, isn't it? Anything goes on this channel. Anything goes. Just no religion, no politics, and laugh with, not at, and we'll be friends for life. Whoop, whoop. Call the police. Okay then. Let's go through it together. Frederick Ranau, or Rees Ranau, he's in goal for Union. Ranau's kept 8 clean sheets this season, 4 at home, 4 away. So he is currently 5th on the clean sheet. The hot stoppers. Hot stoppers, bottle stoppers for this season. It's a back 3 of Durkee, Querfeld and Leiter. They play consistently together pretty much for most of this season. It's the old boy, Christopher Tremmel, on the right back or wing back position. Jurassic Park, Jurasinovic on the left-hand side. We've got Sami Khedira's younger brother, Rani Khedira, next to Habera in the middle. So Khedira and Habera in the middle of the midfield. And he's... Oh, wow. Can I believe this right? Am I reading this right? The peak cap Stefan Baumgart's playing Hollerbach. Wow. So he's not treating him as a substitute today. Tomorrow, sorry. He's going to be in the starting 11. So Hollerbach, Andras Schaffer, the Hungarian behind Andrei Ilic, the striker. That's your Union Berlin team, who are coming into this game in good form, actually. Just back it up, son, won't you? Unbeaten in 5 now. Yeah, 3 wins, 2 draws in there. Last out, of course, was that 0-0 with Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, that was a shutout. It's a baseball term, isn't it? Shutout. You shut the team out. I don't know what accent that was, but yeah. It was a shutout against Leverkusen. So yeah, 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5. As for Stuttgart, it's Alexander Nübel. I noticed he'd shaved the other day in their game against Werder Bremen. Shaved his November off. It's a back 4. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Stuttgart of Leondis Sturgu, who's the Swiss Greek. Don't get many of them for a Euro. Alongside Finn Yeltz, Big Jeff Chabot, and Maxi Mittelstadt. He's a favourite of Gonzo's. That midfield, is it a 3 or is it a 4? Potentially it could be 4-4-2, I suppose. Enzo Milo. Atakan Karazor is the skipper. Angelo, no relation to Ben Stiller in that midfield as a DM. And Chris Furix in that lineup. So yeah, it is a 4-4-2 then. And then up front, it's Emarine Demirovic, who scored a hat-trick recently away at Bochum in a 4-0 win. And then Dennis Undav, ex-Brighton and Hove Albion. Interesting striker. How is Stuttgart getting on? Well, it's patchy, if I recall rightly. Patchy form, not Apache. Yeah, last 5, 3 losses, 2 wins. Last time out, they lost again, like I say, in that tie with Werder Bremen, with a red card from Nick Voldemata was quite pivotal because it created extra space in which Romano Schmidt could pick off pass, and Ollie Burt was running through, running the lines, and he's lightning quick, so they got caught out in that game. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, right, so where we go with our prediction for the 9th and final time for match day 30. Sounds final, doesn't it? Sounds ominous. I don't like that one. No likey, no likey. No likey, no likey. Here we are. We're going 1-0 Augsburg again. Don't score many, don't concede many. Frankfurt, we said. No, that's not that game, is it? What am I doing? It's not that game. Stuttgart, come on. Head on, Craig. Head on. I can always edit this out later, can't we, I suppose? Right. Just left a gap. Left a gap for the VOD there for the edit. Right, let's try that one again. Union Berlin 1, Stuttgart 2. Yeah, we feel that this... We feel that Stuttgart are due a win. They're due to put some form together because it's been pretty patchy. Yeah, Union are street fighters. They know how to graft and scrap. Stuttgart will go 1 up. Union will equalise. Stuttgart will get their go ahead and win it 2-1. That's what we're saying. You can clip that. We'll clip that. Yeah. Holler back potentially with that Union Berlin goal. Although again, it might come from a set piece. One of Trimmel's set piece specials. That's where we're going. Yeah, we're going 2-1. Stuttgart away win. And it feels like that's going to wrap everything up. Let's just make sure we've not missed anything. Those are the fixtures for match day 30. I just double check on our predictions. So, to recap the predictions, we're going Leipzig to beat Holstein Kiel 3-1 at home. Munich to win 3-1 away to Frank Schmidt's Heidenheim. Werder Bremen to win 2-0 at home to Bochum to impose more misery on Dieter Hecking. Freiburg to win 1-0 at home to Hoffenheim. For Julian Schuster to keep themselves in the running for a European spot next season, a European competition campaign next season. Wolfsburg to come to Mainz at the Voith Arena and win 3-2 because they're good on the road. That would end a 4-game loss streak. Union Berlin to go down 2-1 at home to Stuttgart. Augsburg to win 1-0 at home to Frankfurt, catching them with the Blues, even though they're playing red and white. Augsburg to win 1-0 at home. Dortmund to beat Gladbach in one of the games of the season, 3-2, which is going to be basketball-esque. And then Leverkusen to sneak a 1-0 win at St. Pauli to keep pressure and remain in lockstep with Munich at the top of the table. A lot of home wins predicted there. I see. Is it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home wins out of 9. And I've just noticed not a single draw. Wow. Okay. And pretty much goals. There you go. Did you see that? No, you didn't. You can I always forget to click that button so you can see what I'm looking at. There you go, yeah. So there's the fixtures coming up. So no games today because it's a holy day. It's Good Friday, and Germany's very strict with its rules, not just for football, but for all of society. But you can, if you're in Germany today, you can go to the zoo. You can go and look at the capybaras. You can go and admire a snake or toss a piece of fish. Not a political figure, but you could do that as well. But you didn't get that idea from us. You could toss a fish at a polar bear. But you can't go and watch football. And you can't go to a restaurant. You can't even go to the pub. You can't go to a nightclub. Certainly not in Berlin because they're on lockdown until Saturday. But you can stay at home and watch this VOD, and you can watch my other videos. And while I'm at it, we will put links in the description for other videos that we've made, like that profile on Frankfurt, like Augsburg, just because you might be curious. You might want to know more about the foggers. You might want to know about the history of Augsburg from a socio and political point of view, not just a football point of view. We try and make storytelling interesting, although we're not very good at timekeeping. Yeah, a lot to work on there. So yeah, we resume. Well, they resume. The Bundesliga resumes on Saturday. Otherwise, I think that's it. I think we might have wrapped up just under the 3-hour mark, unless there's any other business. Let's have a quick look to see if there's anybody. If there's anybody still in the chat. So that was a reference to Put the Shades On being a fan of Inter, as we know Nico is. Again, Taffman, the Taffman 10, who should be a national ambassador for Mali, the country. Thank you so much, Mr. Put the Shades On. I'm going to put the shades on soon, kick back and have a drink, and then before I crack into the edit of the VOD on this one, I just wanted to check. Yeah, I don't really have any other business. I know there's football going on in other parts of the world today, and we can check that together quickly because we're here. Maybe there's some other fixtures that grab your attention. Again, everyone's welcome in the chat to drop in a reference to the teams that they support. There's a whole host of football in England, in the UK, going off today. We can follow that together. Look, this is your football in the UK Championship. Some of those games have already been and gone. That's how long we've been on the stream today, by the way, folks. That Derby have been... Oh, that's a six-pointer. 6-pointer there, look. Derby-Luton. 1-0 away win for Luton. That's going to stir things up. I did see the other day, and I'm not sure if it was a wind-up or not, that apparently both Derby and Hull are going to be docked points. Both are going to be subject to at least a 12-point deduction, which it felt like that was a bit of a clickbait. I'd need to look into that one, because if it is, we're both down, we're both doomed. A bunch of the games kicked off recently at 3 o'clock. You can see there, look, Hull City away at Swansea, is currently 0-0. Leeds away at Oxford for the evening game. Burnley are 1-0 down to Watford, which is unusual, because that's only the... Is that... How many goals have it? They've not conceded many goals this season, have they? Is it 14, 15 now? How do you swap that? I was going to say, I don't want to see the Premier League. Well, I do, but not just yet. 14 goals in 43 games, which is still like... Clap that in. That is still incredible. Again, no back button. So there's a bunch of championship games going off today if you're interested. There's probably more. Football scores and fixtures. There's some games in League One, some games in League Two. Grimsby 1-0 down to Swindon. I believe there's a Scottish Cup semi-final with Celtic. Is that Saturday or Sunday? They are Saturday, look. Hearts, Aberdeen, the Granite City. Aberdeen. And I believe Celtic are in the other game. Yeah, against the Super Jays, St Johnstone. And not to overlook the Women's Champions League. Look at that. Arsenal... Lyon, Olympic Lyonnais. That's tomorrow at 12:30 or 13:30 CET. Very early start if you're in America. What's that? 6:30 in the morning. Maybe even 5:30, depending on how far across the country you are. And on Sunday, it's Barcelona ladies versus Chelsea's ladies or women. Let's get it right. In their Champions League semi-final. So that's not bad, is it? Arsenal represented by both the ladies and the men in the Champions League semi-final this season. Clap that in. So there's your football, folks. What a stream that's been. Just under the 3-hour mark. The chat's been lively. Thank you for anyone that... Well, thank you, Mr. Shades. Thank you, Zia, for dropping in at the top when it was the Munich section. Amir Samir, loving... Yeah, 9 fixtures all hyped up. We've made our predictions. Let's see how we got on, yeah? I will, for one last time, share the link for the Discord. And I say everyone's welcome in. Only a couple of rules: no religion, no politics. I suppose the third one is you laugh with, not at. And all being well, we should be back later this evening for an FM stream. Although if Taffman 10's on, then I'll let him take the spotlight and we'll just... what's the term? What do you say? When you sit... We'll play shotgun. We'll play shotgun to Taffman with his stream. He's Liverpool manager, right? He's got a Liverpool save on the go. And he's a diehard Liverpool fan too. Along with Fi, the Norwegian, and Nico Sports Inter. Jack Sports Spurs, and I forget the Man U fan. Who's the man? What's his name? I forget his name now. I'm sure that Shades will stick it in here. Anyway, what a fantastic stream. We've covered all the hype trains going in the right track. We've got to tidy this up, put a bow on it for the VOD. Thank you, everyone, for being part of it. As ever, he's been Gonzo. I've been Craig. This has been the German Spotlight Football Channel. We'll see you soon. And if we don't hear from you soon, have a great Easter. I'll be back tomorrow with some daily content. Auf Wiedersehen. Get your hand gesture right. Please like and subscribe because we're on that journey. We're on that road to 1,000 subs. Please, we want to. We'll give you what you want. You come and let us know what content you want, and we'll make it. Anyway, back later for some FM stream. If not, it'll be sticker book opening. Nearly spilt knockoff lemonade all over the place there. Again, we'll be back later. Thanks everyone for the support. Love you so much. Me and Sam here. Auf Wiedersehen. Bye. Ciao, ciao for now. Ciao, ciao for now. What was that, Gonzo? What was that?